There we go. I think we're officially live. Look, I only wear a Deshaun Kaiser Browns jersey once a year, and it's when we inevitably get a Browns TNF game, like we have tonight. So, welcome, Steelers, Browns. One team at the top of the AFC, one team at the bottom of the entire league, but it's an AFC North Division game, so you never really know what you're going to get. It's in Cleveland. I have a little bit of a soft spot for Cleveland. Fun town that I think gets unfairly dunked on, but I had a wonderful time tailgating at a Muni lot a few years ago when I went out for a Browns game. Wonderful people. So if you're a Browns fan, you're watching this either live or later, I wish you the best. EJ, I assume as somebody who grew up in sort of adjacent to that region of the country, you've spent time in Cleveland before, yeah?
A little bit, not very much. Not because I don't like Cleveland, but it was just far enough away. I know that sounds silly considering I grew up in New York and it's only in Ohio and it's right next door, but just didn't make it over that often. Have I been to Cleveland? Yes. Have I been to a game in Cleveland? I have not. And I realize that is a completely different experience. But no, folks I've met both from Cleveland and in Cleveland seem like super nice folks. And I wish that they didn't have to sit through a lot of what's gone on for the last couple of years with their football team. That's for sure.
It's just unfortunate, and we've touched on it over and over and over again. So we're going to try not to beat that dead horse tonight, because luckily we get to watch Jameis Winston play football tonight, which isn't like the biggest improvement ever, but it's an improvement. He's at least fun, and God knows we could use fun on TNF this time of year. Before we get to our Browns thoughts, your initial thoughts on the Steelers as they go into Week 12. Not poised, sort of in position to contend for the number one seed in the AFC.
Yeah, both of these teams, interestingly, are not the same as they were like substantively when the season started. Obviously, Steelers started off with Justin Fields. Browns started off with Deshaun Watson. Neither one of those things went well. Russ Wilson ascends. Lots of storylines about whether that was destined to happen anyways, always fated to be, or just came to be in Cleveland. We know what happened with Deshaun. He got hurt, and now it's Jameis time. So both teams with a very different outlook, but I'm not even going to argue. I'm going to say better outlooks than when they kicked off the season. And we talked on our most recent podcast that came out today, a little bit about Pittsburgh and how Russ is sort of playing along that perfect ridge of I'll add just enough to a team that was aligned to do almost all the other things that I can't, and I'll add just that one element of explosive deep balls 3 or 4 times a game, and that will completely turn their fortunes. Jameis, on the other hand, is just a functional NFL quarterback. He's somewhere in the middle. He's going to throw a lot. He's going to throw a bunch of touchdowns. He's going to throw less picks probably than he did in his 30 and 30 year, but you're going to see more of the Browns weapons better utilized. So this is a way more fun matchup than when we sat down in the summer and said, okay, what's the TNF slate? Oh, all right. Maybe Pittsburgh, Cleveland's not going to be so much fun by the time we get to that in Week 12. But I actually think this is going to be a really fun game because the teams are not the same, but they're similar in the fact that they've both made major moves from the beginning of the season, and that's put them in better positions down the stretch. Now, Browns aren't really going to go anywhere because of what happened in the first half of the year, but Pittsburgh, as you mentioned, on the other hand, is a very real threat in the AFC because they have a balance they haven't had on offense in a couple of years. Defense is good again. Offensive line is rejuvenated. The running game is the running game that Pittsburgh, I want to say, always has, but it dipped a little bit in previous years. It's back to being a very solid running game. And, of course, Mike Tomlin, steady as a rock, always seems to be able to pull the right lever and have this team, certainly above 500. That's the meme, but in contention right now. And that makes this a really fun game.
So I want to show our underdog slip, which I'm going to be filling out kind of in real time here, because the numbers have changed just a wee bit. Ooh, let me adjust the image here. Numbers have changed just a wee bit. We submitted George Pickens at, 49.5 receiving. He has skyrocketed up to 60.5. So, Do you still feel comfortable going higher on that, EJ?
Probably. I think the number I was looking at the time, again, these numbers are going to fluctuate throughout the week. We did this very early in the week. I think was 54, so it was on its way up, but it hadn't hit 60 yet. I actually take that as a sign of like we were on the right track.
I'm going to go higher for Pickens. David Njoku, who earlier this week we had at 3.5 receptions, he's now at 4.5.
Yeah, that's a big difference in that particular line.
Lower, higher?
It's 4.5 is right at, which is why I like 3.5 a lot, because I was like, 4 I like, 5 I'm not so sure about. And so appropriately enough, the line is 4.5 now. I like Njoku better against their interior defenders than I do like their outside receivers against the Pittsburgh corners, if that's an answer. So maybe he picks up the extra reception.
Or would you prefer, let's see.
But wait, can I sell you on a used Lincoln Navigator?
6.5 first quarter receiving, just like a catch.
Oh my God. You and your first quarter or first
I'm just saying, if you're going to die fast.
I would prefer to die more slowly and keep this slip alive for a bit. 6.9, sure.
Okay, let's do 6.5 for that.
It's 7 yards. Let's go.
And then I know you wanted Cedric Tillman at 2.5 catches yesterday. He's up to 3.5. That one.
See, I just think we're on the right track with all these. Like every place where we've been like, yeah, that's good. They've raised the line in each particular case. So just means we got in early, I guess.
I'm gonna go higher on Tillman just because I think if it's possible he goes to the Joey Porter shadow realm, but I think they might hide him a little bit from Joey. And then Deshaun Elliott,
they better.
Yeah, they better. You wanted Deshaun Elliott at 3.5 tackles. He is at. Ooh, he's no longer up. Does that mean I get to do a kicker pick? Do I get to do Boswell to replace it?
Oh, man.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
Try as I might. I cannot save you from yourself.
We're doing Boswell, baby. All right.
Oh,
I'm going to lock this in while we can.
We have first quarter receiving yards and a kicker. 4 slot entry.
All right. Yikes. I'm going to grab this link for chat. You guys can tail the most unholy anti-EJ slip of the season if you would like that. Again, George Pickens higher than 60.5. Njoku higher than 6.5 first quarter. Tillman higher than 3.5 total catches. Chris Boswell, best kicker in the league this year, higher than 1.5 field goals, which naturally means he's going to miss tonight. But I'm willing to accept your slings and arrows. All in all, not bad, EJ. Not bad.
Is that what we're calling it? I like my original a lot better. Let's just put it that way.
Well, because you did it on a Tuesday.
I know. I love that.
All the numbers are fresh.
When the numbers are fresh, indeed.
I kind of want to hit on Tillman, by the way, because he's had an opportunity over this last half of the season. Ever since the Amari trade, to kind of show what he can do and assert himself as a factor for this team going forward. Personally, for me, I could take or leave Jerry Judy at this point, this far into his career. Tillman has legitimately impressed me. And it feels like for how many years in a row, Browns fans were like, we need another receiver. And they've tried all these different ways of trying to round out the receiving core. I got to say, I'm a fan of Tillman. Again, he's not in the greatest situation ever. But if you're just looking at the talent and what he's put on tape, like there is big plays there. I think he could potentially be, he's not built like him, but I think he could potentially be like a Will Fuller type, right? Where it's, okay, he's not going to get the super high volume, but I mean, he's an explosive play waiting to happen.
Yeah, I love Tillman. I was very high on him coming out. It took a while. And yeah, get him a quarterback who's actually throwing the ball with volume, and you're going to see results, and you have. And to a lesser extent, now Steelers fans don't get upset, don't get sensy about this. The same thing has happened to Tillman that's happened to Pickens with Russell showing up and throwing the deep ball and giving him chances. Pickens' stats are basically double when he plays with any other quarterback as when he plays with Russ. He loves him some Russell Wilson, and he should. And Tillman, to a lesser extent, is like, bring on the Jameis. He's going to throw it up. I'm going to make plays for him. And he's made way more plays since the quarterback switch. Not a surprise. And he's a big physical receiver with speed. The knock on him coming out was that his route tree wasn't super developed, and he came from an offense that didn't ask him to do everything, which is a common complaint with a lot of college wide receivers. He's developing really nicely, and with more chances, I'd love to see his role in the offense get even bigger because he can pay it off.
I also want to talk about, in particular, the Russ versus Justin dynamic, because the leap forward that this offense has taken, and it wasn't that Justin was completely incapable of throwing deep, but it felt like when he did throw deep, it was after running around for a while, and it wasn't just catch the ball, see the one-on-one, pull the trigger. I kind of feel like that quick deep ball, which sounds like an oxymoron, but you know what I'm talking about, where we're in the gun, it's a quick one step, George is out there, like we're throwing it up. It's a safe throw, by the way. It's not necessarily a high percentage ball, but it's a low percentage turnover possibility, right? Because those are usually pure one-on-ones, like unless the corner somehow tips it way up there to allow the safety to get there, like it's a safe throw. You know, you obviously have two receivers that can pay it off. And Justin, I felt like when he went deep, he wasn't doing it in a safe way. He was doing it in a, I think I can fit this in kind of way. Whereas Russ brings almost like a conservative aggression, which I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but that's always been his style, right? It's conservative aggression. And that's really been the unlock here. Like that has really turned the Steelers offense into something that, even if it shouldn't be feared, it should at least be respected, right? And that's kind of all they've been missing the last couple of years, more than a couple, last several years, is just a respectable offense that you at least have to pay attention to. And can't just write off of like, it's Kenny Pickett, or it's Duck Hodges. Yeah, it's Rudolph. Like, again, Russ ain't prime Russ anymore, but shit, they'll take average.
3 or 4 times a game, he's going to scare you very badly. And that's what they needed to do. They needed some balance. This is always an offense that can pound. They can find, short completions to Pat Freiermuth when they needed them. That really hasn't changed. But what they couldn't do reliably, and I hate to say reliably because it's not necessarily reliably. It's like 3 times a game, maybe 4 times a game, maybe once a quarter. He's going to uncork it. And they're not all going to get completed. But again, as a defense, you don't know when they are. So you have to respect that, because that ball could go all the way and it could be 6 or 7. And playing against this defense, it's going to be a low scoring affair. You can't afford to give away a free 6. So I don't care what your offense is against this defense, it's going to put up less numbers. So you have to be back on your heels. You have to respect the deep ball. You have to run with the deep routes. You can't squat on the under stuff. You can't all there be in the run fit. Like when that guy goes, if Russ sees him, like you said, it can be very quick. It's pre-snap recognition on those deep routes. It's, maybe 3 steps and let it go. On my 3rd step, I recognized it. Pre-snap, I knew where I was going. I look off the safety, 1, 2, 3, and that ball is up. And it's either going to get, like you said, batted away, batted down, or my receiver's going to get it. And that's pretty much all that can happen on that ball. And he's thrown that ball his whole career. And you're right, it has completely changed the complexion of what Pittsburgh is able to do. And really, frankly, how defenses have to play them because of that.
So Jameis took over Cleveland in week 8. Russ took over the Steelers in week 7. This is the difference between these two offenses since that change, right? Again, Jameis was always going to be an upgrade over Deshaun, but this is how big of an upgrade Russ has been for Pittsburgh. So big-time throw percentage since week 7 for the Steelers, 15.8%. That's high. That is really high. Turnover-worthy play rate, 2.3%. Yards per attempt, 9.6. Passer rating, 114.3. Jameis, higher passer rating, 135.1, higher completion percentage, higher yards per attempt. However, big-time throw percentage is about a quarter of Russ's at 3.7%. Turnover-worthy play rate, nearly triple Russ at 6.5%. So if we're talking about somebody who has, less yards per attempt, less completion percentage, but more impactful plays and less killer turnovers, that is why the Steelers keep winning, right? Is because they get drive flipping plays from Russ, and he's not turning it over. And I think that's going to be the difference tonight. And that's obviously a big reason, like you alluded to, George Pickens is happy as a clam, right? Because you have a quarterback who's willing to chuck it up enough to get a big time throw percentage of almost 16%, which again is extraordinarily high. That is disgustingly high. There's an interesting stat here, and I had Hockey's pull this for me, because we talked about in our game preview for the Ravens-Steelers game last week, Ravens corners against deep balls 20-plus yards down the field outside the numbers, right? And so I had him pull all the numbers for those types of throws, go balls down the boundary for all the Browns corners. And they have 25 total targets between them, 10 completions allowed between them. That is the third most. Martin Emerson, out of all the corners in Cleveland, and this really pains me to say because a couple of years ago, Martin Emerson was a really good corner. He is second among all corners. He is first among all the Browns corners in terms of those deep ball completions allowed. At 5, there is a 55% completion rate against Martin Emerson on these deep balls down the boundary. That is not good. These are supposed to be 50-50 balls by nature. Just Martin Emerson alone is making it 45-55 in favor of the opposition. And when you factor the George Pickens of it all into it, it might be closer to 65-35, right? So I feel like, one of the reasons why I'm feeling good about Pickens tonight is because he's going to get matched up on Emerson at some point. And that is not a matchup that looks good for Cleveland, specifically on those deep balls.
Yeah, you talked about that high percentage of big time throws, and he needs a high percentage of big time throws because he doesn't have that many throws. Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? So in terms of completions for the 4 games that Russ has started, 16, 20, 14, 23. Like, he just doesn't have that many chances. So if he had that few chances and a very low percentage, we'd be talking about a handful of throws. He needs that very high percentage because he's not making that many completions. He needs a bunch of them to be big. And that's again, that very thin line that he's been walking. I'm not going to throw very many. I'm going to throw a bunch of high leverage balls, and they need to be completed because that's what's going to move the offense. And we had talked about playoff likelihood in our most recent podcast and how far we thought a team might go in the playoffs. And at some point, a couple of those are going to get knocked down, and that's going to be the difference because there's just not that many. We're talking about 4, maybe 5 of those balls a game. And if somebody knocks down 2 or 3, it's just not going to be enough in the passing game for Pittsburgh to go and sort of grind it out, to pivot and go another way. Or if Pickens rolls an ankle, or if Russ gets knocked out of a game or whatever. It's this very fine line between Russ and Pickens and completing 3 to 4 deep balls a game to keep people, quote unquote, honest. And if anything interrupts that flow of juice, the Steelers are back to being the same team they were at the beginning of the season, which is not anywhere near as, intimidating as they are now.
I'm still seeing snow flurries on camera, by the way. The snow has not stopped. So that's going to affect footing potentially tonight. I'm not entirely sure what the best spikes to wear are in conditions like this, where it's sort of snow, but not really. So if you guys have any experience with that, let me know. But I have to imagine that's going to be a consideration. And also, when the temps are this cold, and not only when the temps are this cold, but when there's moisture as a factor with snow, right? Snow hitting your hands, making the gloves wet. There's an interesting phenomenon with receiver gloves that are naturally really sticky, but when they get wet, they're extremely slick. It actually makes it harder to catch the ball. So depending on how much snow falls throughout this game, and I haven't checked the weather report in a while, and how wet their hands get, we might see some receivers go gloveless throughout the game because it's legitimately really hard to catch with wet receiver gloves.
Yeah, receiver gloves have changed a ton. I was a big fan of them when I was in high school. I didn't play high school football, but we played catch. And
you get those isotoners?
No. I had the same ones Jerry Rice had. What are they? Not Neiman's. They were the tackified goatskin ones with
Oh
the N
yeah,
on the
yeah,
back. Somebody help me out. Yeah. And those things were amazing until they got wet. And if
exactly.
they got wet and cold, it basically, whatever they put on the tackified part becomes like snot. Like it becomes legitimately like slick, like a thick, viscous, slick stuff. You basically have to take them off because you can't do anything at that point. But no, I love those things. I would wear one under my baseball glove. And helped with fielding, and they were great. But
For
receiver gloves have
baseball.
changed. Yeah,
Interesting.
receiver gloves have changed a lot. They are no longer those, that's for sure. And but still, when you get a combination of wet and cold specifically, um, you know, I know some guys swear by them, and some guys are like, nope, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Can't have that. So we'll see as it goes along. It's certainly going to affect it, but it affects everybody. It affects the defensive backs too. They wear them as well a lot of times. And we might see drop passes, but we also might see dropped interceptions. So it could work for you or against you.
First super chat of the night here from Sean Tron for $5. Evening, y'all. Who are your defensive player of the year front runners, and why is Van Ginkel not getting enough love? I think Van Ginkel suffers from being in a defense that is more than the sum of its parts, right? And if you're asking your average Vikings fan, who it is that really holds the Vikings defense together, you're going to get a different answer from everybody. Some are going to say Van Ginkel, some are going to say Cashman was like the secret sauce behind it. Some would say that Jonathan Grenard's pressure has been the secret sauce. And I think it's the fact that he's in a defense that's made up of a lot of good players, as well as with a DC that's really, really good, means that unfortunately he doesn't get the same shine that, say, an Aiden Hutchinson did early on in the year, where like very clearly he was holding their pass rush together when he was still healthy. Trey Hendrickson, it's Trey against the world. You look at Chris Jones against the world, similar kind of situation to Trey Hendrickson, where it's him and nobody else really in terms of consistently getting pressure. Dexter Lawrence doing something that just nose tackles don't do. It's unfortunate that Van Ginkel is just he's a victim of being on a good team. And when you're on a good team surrounded by a bunch of good players, sometimes everybody's getting stats instead of just one guy being, the Iron Man here. But for me, I think he's at least a Pro Bowler. I'd put him in the Pro Bowl because he's been awesome for a long time. Like, this is not a new thing. He was awesome in Miami as well.
Yeah, we did an update on our mid-season awards, so there was a comment that flipped by earlier about any thought to doing a summer series episode where we go back and talk about what changed or what we missed from the previous summer series. We kind of did that a week ago. We basically updated our mid-season awards from when we initially put out that list as a prediction list in late August. And you said your updated choice was, I think, Xavier McKinney, and mine was Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
And again, those are two guys that have made massive differences. I think McKinney even more sort of vividly on the Green Bay defense than Dex. Dex is just sort of doing what he did last year, which is everything in the middle of that Giants line. So it can be when you have, I don't want to say a no-name defense because it's not a no-name defense.
It's
but when
more.
you have
It's a lot of name
names,
defense.
a lot of names defense, you can kind of get lost in the wash. And again, you have to be watching those teams really closely to see, yeah, but without Van Ginkel, right, they're sunk. And I think in general, the way these awards get voted on, which is, it's not right or wrong, it just is. It's a fact, right? Politics are a part of it. Visibility is a part of it. Not everybody watches every game. I know the voters are supposed to. They don't. Like, if defenders don't have big plays in big games, they're not going to be considered the same way. And people are not going to go back and watch the entire resume. They're not going to watch all 17 games and go, man, if, somebody like Van Ginkel wasn't on the field, this team probably loses an extra 2.5 games, something like that. That's where you start to actually have some sort of groundswell for a true, like, most valuable defensive player. But a lot of times that stuff gets lost in the wash. You have to start with stats regardless. I know it's not a stat watcher thing, but you have to have some decent stats. I can't think of any top award getter, offensive or defensive, that didn't have a good statistical year. Like they don't do style points in the NFL. They don't feel like, well, the guy only had 4 sacks, but man, he should have had 24. Like that's not a thing.
Kind of reminds me of when back in the Legion of Boom era, right?
Yep.
When that defense was at its peak and everybody was like, well, Richard Sherman's only good because he has Earl Thomas, and Earl Thomas is only good because he has Cam Chancellor, and Cam Chancellor's only good because he has Michael Bennett, and Michael Bennett's only good because Brandon Mebane takes the early down work, and Brandon Mebane's only good because Bobby Wagner cleans everything up, and Bobby Wagner's only good because Richard Sherman takes away a third of the field. You know, like sometimes it's just everybody. And all of them are only good because Bruce Irvin's great at cleaning up everything.
Right, because Bruce Irvin was very unlikely, but also great. It's a weird and flawed process. People talk every year about what would be better and who got snubbed. That's one of the biggest things for content creators. We've talked about it before for sure, but whenever a list comes out, I don't care what list it is, preseason All-American list in college or, Pro Bowl list, who got snubbed? That's the biggest thing. Oh, the defensive honors, the offensive honors, somebody got snubbed, right? And, people will go into the reasoning for that. And I actually think a bunch of those are pretty helpful, right? Oh, I've looked at those in previous years and gone, I hadn't thought about it like that. And again, this guy follows his team and he had every possible justification for why that player should have been considered more highly. And, I maybe had 80% of that, but a couple of those points will turn your head around. And it's useful for that, but it's going to happen no matter what the system is, right? Only one guy can win every year for each award. And there's always going to be people that think that's not correct or was unjust or somebody got left out when they shouldn't have.
Echo Warrior for $10. Thank you, Echo. Welcome back. I know the Jets are trending down, but what I see is they're still doing well versus the pass. With that being said, how impressive was AR's performance considering he did pretty well through the air? So there was a sequence that when I went back and I watched AR's game, because what intrigued me was like, okay, he had a much higher completion percentage than we're used to, plus 3 drops. Mm-hmm. Like overall was very accurate. And while I was watching one of his drops, which was early in the fourth quarter, and I saw it, and he hit it over the middle, and I was like, Alec Pierce was running free down the sideline, right? Like they had a quarter half look against a wing slot. Actually, hold on. I can diagram this. Wait, no, not that. Oh, God, please don't send the death squad. All right. So wing slot looks, so let me move this TE over here, right? So then he had a slot here. Move this. So it's quarter, half, right? So we got quarters on this side. Safety's supposed to be here. This is Sauce. He's playing the flat, right? So again, quarter, half. And then you got 3 defenders underneath. So you had this receiver do a late breakout to the flat. So Sauce is sinking, then he comes down, and Alec Pierce just got let go down the boundary. Now this safety, the half-field safety, was poking his head in against the run, and he was late. And this was, I think, it was either around 11 minutes or 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter, right? So Alec Pierce is running free. AR tries to hit like a little crossing route, I think to the tight end over the middle. It gets dropped, fine, whatever. So last drive, Colts are down. Clearly Steichen saw that, and he took it to AR and was like, hey, you're going to have an opportunity to hit this. We're going to call another wing slot look. So they did it with just over 2 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. They're driving down. They call it again, and they get that same quarter, half look. Drag this back here. So they get same quarter, half here. He's drawn here. They get a little delay from the number 2. Sauce drives on it again because he's supposed to, and this safety got caught again. He was late expanding, and Alec Pierce caught a beautiful one right in the bucket down here from AR. Got like 39 yards and set up the game-winning touchdown. That, to me, was growth, right? That was growth that Steichen saw that. He took it to AR and he's like, hey, you missed it the first time. I'm going to give you another one. I'm going to give you a chance to come back and hit what you should have hit before. And he trusted AR to do it. He trusted AR to see it, and he saw it, and he hit it. He threw a perfect ball, too. And that set up the game-winning score. Like, they won because of that play. And I loved that growth from Richardson to learn from a mistake early on in the quarter and then come back and fire it and make a huge play. That's what Colts fans want to see, right? Like, I think at this point, like, they know they're not winning the Super Bowl. They just want to see growth. That was growth to me.
Yeah, that game was really impressive in a lot of ways from AR, and he definitely benefited from his time on the bench. There was all the hue and cry about when he got benched and how the Colts were throwing the season away. And like sometimes a guy just needs a break. Like he just needs a break. The NFL is a grind, and when it's not going your way, just sort of slapping your head against the wall and, trying to make it better when it's clearly not getting better. You just need a breather. And a lot of people thought it was permanent. I mean, again, it's this black, white, 1-0 like absolute world where, oh, if he's going to the bench, he's never coming back. He's done. And it was like, no, he's not done. He needs a breather, right? He needs to sit down. He needs to reassess. They need to go through some stuff because he's not hitting easy stuff. He's not hitting basic stuff. He hit a lot of easy and basic stuff in that game on Sunday that he was missing badly in the early part of the season. And then on top of that, he made some of those big dagger throws. I'm not talking about the dagger concept. I'm talking about sticking it to the opponent. And he looked dangerous again. And add to that, the running game, which he's a little more aggressive there than I'd like him to be. Seeing what happens to that shoulder when he runs it into defenders that hard. But he's not backing off. He knows how to play one way. And the combination of the little stuff, the big stuff in the passing game, and the running threat, that's the quarterback that Colts fans want to see. And I don't think they were going to see it if he just kind of kept his nose to the grindstone and just kept stubbing away. The breather was good for him. It was very good for Bryce Young. It was very good for him. And it was a much different game on tape. Like there were several. You ever heard the phrase surprise and delight, Brett?
Yeah. Oh, big run from Warren, by the way.
Yeah. Jalen just popped it. Oh, good hit when he finally got to the safety. Whoops.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, there was some surprise and delight to that, AR game where you're going through the tape and you're like, oh, and that's nice. And that's nice. Holy cow, he strung 3 together. Like, that's really nice too.
Really good trap call on the 3 technique, and they let Mason McCormick get up to the second level immediately.
Look at that's 54 JOK, right?
No, you're talking about for the Browns? Yeah. I was going to say it's Frazier for Cleveland.
He's not moving like he should. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, A, he put on weight this year, if I recall correctly, and B, I think he's also playing through an injury.
He sure looks like it.
It's November. Like everybody's playing through an injury, but
multiples.
I think a serious one.
He looks like he's literally running at half speed, considering how fast I've seen him move on a football field. That's alarming.
There we go. Gonna be a yard short. It's a good tackle from Emerson.
Yeah, well, that is young on that one. I love me some Martin Emerson. I was the guy that sold you on Emerson. I was like, no, he's going to be really good.
You
like,
were 100% right on him. I don't know what's happened to him this year, but he has fallen off a cliff.
I fully agree. And it, as much as it pains you, it pains me even more because he was one of those guys I strongly believed in. And I thought there's a lot here. He goes to Cleveland in a very talented secondary, has a very good year. And then this year, and not so much.
Ooh, we got a flag.
Yeah. Browns seem pretty intent that it is on the Steelers, and it is.
Oh, JOK's out? Okay, I knew he was injured. I thought he was playing.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just...
Oh, okay. See, wasn't a Wusu Korma. It was Ugbo.
I remember seeing tweets that he got hurt. I couldn't remember what it was, but I didn't realize that he was out for the year. That sucks. I love JOK.
Yeah, but
Ooh, tight window throw to
Okoronkwo.
Freiermuth. I mean, thread in the needle. My God.
It's still like Okoronkwo's faster than that though. Like typically.
Well, remember, wet,
I
cold
know.
field.
Wet cold field, everybody's playing through injuries. Everything you said earlier still applies, even though it's a different player. But oh boy, it's not gonna go well. He's gonna need to chase a little bit tonight.
God, Steelers' offensive line is blowing them off the ball.
Yeah, and
consistently.
look at the size of the hole he ran through as well. Like that was like 2.5 yards wide. Like, I'm not very fast, but I could probably get -1 yards through that hole.
I hope they give us a replay because Frazier and Sayomalo just took the nose tackle for like a 6-yard ride. It was awesome.
Yep.
JOK may never play again. It's that bad? Really? So we're talking like a serious neck injury. Oh, shit.
Not good. We don't like that.
God, well, I'm happy he got his money when he did.
Yeah, it's such cold comfort, right? It's silver lining to the nth degree, but it's better than no comfort. Cold comfort is better than no comfort, and it's what we say when guys are holding out. And whoa, why are you holding out? Blah 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 blah. And because they are one play away from everybody forgetting their name.
Look at Ayuk. He held out. He got his money, and then he blew his ACL. Like it's you need to. Oh God.
Oh.
Speaking of getting crushed,
That was. Let's meet at the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, promising drive unfortunately ended.
Yeah, this is AFC North football. Right?
Yeah.
We saw some big runs, some good offensive line play in the run game, some not great offensive line play in the pass game, some hard hitting already. It's not going to get any easier, folks. This is like the AFC North.
EJ, do you see who's lining up for a kick? You see
I
who's
do.
lining up for a kick?
Did you also double it up and make it the first quarter?
No, I should.
Because that would be the
fucking
ultimate...
A. You missed it. Are you serious right now? Are you fucking serious?
I am so serious, buddy.
What?
Chat, back me up on this.
Come on.
Every week we get down to it. Right before Thursday Night Football, and Brett's like, so do you want to bet on a kicker? And I'm like, no, I don't want to bet on a kicker. And he's like, come on. It worked out last time, which is a lie. It never works out. I think once this year it's worked out. Right? And he's like, come on.
Call me a priest. I need to get exercise. This is, oh my God.
Exercise.
Just ridiculous.
Those jokes make themselves. I'm just going to let them. Yeah, that wasn't close either. That wasn't like, oh yeah, it was really slick. No.
Literally is 5 for 5 last week. The only offense in the NFL that's won 2 games without scoring a touchdown. And he misses it.
Gee, what changed this week?
I believed in him. That's what changed.
That's right. You not only did you believe in him, you bet on him.
All these Steelers fans in my mentions all week. Why don't you talk about the Wizard of Boz, man? He's having a generational year. The one time I do.
You literally mentioned his name in passing in pregame, and he yanks it wide. They're going to be careful what they wish for from now on.
Malort shot required for betting on a kicker. Well, I'm out of my Malort, so I'm safe. I'm safe.
So you did get lucky.
Yes.
Not on the entry, but you did get lucky.
I do need to get another bottle of Malort, though, before the Bears TNF game. Because I don't think I'm going to want to remember that one.
You might not. Miguel says, EJ, you allowed this to happen. I love that. Just giving me agency for like, and I get this a lot, actually. People are like, how did you let Brett? Brett's a grown ass man. I am not.
I just
I do
overruled
not
him.
hold his leash. I do not hold his leash. I just occasionally feed him quesadillas to keep him from dying.
Yes, the annual combine quesadillas.
Yes. Well, we're not. That's not going to be an annual thing. We're not doing it in those circumstances.
Well, I'm
That
going to
was
fly
a
in
literal,
earlier
like,
this year.
yeah. Like, have that thing at 4 p.m., not at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we got to, God, I think this is going to be our, not worst, but most crowded playoff / early draft season travel schedule we've had, because we're doing Shrine for sure, because all the Colorado kids are going out there. And
Yep.
if Shador is there, the decent bet Cam Ward's going to be there. So we're going to be there for like 5 days. And then we come home for, I don't know, 3 days and then go back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we?
Go back to the Super Bowl a few days later. We're in New Orleans for how many ever days we're there. And then come home and then go right back to the Combine. So I'm not going to see my wife for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy in and out travel season of, like, I shouldn't even say it, but I was hoping that construction would be a little bit better at my local airport, but I doubt that.
It's SeaTac. When are they ever going to be on time?
Well, it was good for a while, and then they decided that they should do a lot of upgrades.
Yeah. The worst security line I've ever been in my life was SeaTac, by the way.
I remember that text. I dropped you off, at least for your standards, with enough time to get through the line. You're like, I don't think I'm making it home. I was like, oh, good. Nice.
It was like a 3,000 person line.
Yeah, it's not great. Gurmighty says, EJ, does Thomas Brown give you Tomlin vibes? No, he certainly doesn't. For lots of reasons. I like Brown as a coach. I've heard good things about him, but you hear good things, you hear bad things. I've never met Thomas Brown. But from the way the people that interact with him talk about him, I like his approach. He does not seem like he's, really one end and the other. He has a very level approach. Seems to be like, here's what I want you to do, and here's the why, which most players appreciate. And obviously it made a major turn in the Chicago offense. And a lot of it, let's be honest, was a low-hanging fruit, easy bar to step over. Shane was kind of actively doing lots of the wrong things, which is why he was eventually relieved of his duties. But Thomas Brown was like, hey, let's just do the common sense stuff. Let's do the basic stuff and start there. And they did that, and it worked really well. They almost beat Green Bay. So good for him. Now the question is, how can they continue to step that up, Caleb's development and everything for the rest of the year? Tomlin vibes, that's a much higher bar.
You think he's a Hall of Fame coach? Let's just set the bar there immediately.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're talking about somebody who's a sophomore and isn't even eligible to be drafted until next year, and they're like, hey, do you think he's going to be the best receiver ever in the NFL? And you're like, what?
Uh-oh. I saw somebody go down on the sideline. I think there was a
bit of a scrum
confrontation with a ref.
Yeah, ref lost his hat, for sure.
I think the ref and a player might have collided. I can't quite
got a flag.
tell. Did a gunner run into a ref?
Let's find out.
Okay, so he got forced out, right?
Subbed out. Okay.
Really forced out. Jesus Christ.
I was going to say,
he got put on the bench.
He's 8 yards deep, and he put him on the bench. That's not great. There you go.
I mean, to me, that's just a great block. I'm sorry. You get thrown out the club. I mean, good God, that's just a good block. DeMonte Casey.
Out the club, across the street.
Next county over.
Yeah.
Just depositing him in the front row. Oh, Brewdog, I think I've been there.
Well, there you are.
Yeah.
I love it. I think I've been there.
See, here's the thing. When you go to Cleveland, it's basically just a metropolitan area entirely made up of pubs. Like, it's pub food capital of America as far as I'm concerned. It's the only type of food I found in my entire week in Cleveland. But they're very good at it.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
No, it's like the Ireland of America. Like, you don't find a huge variety, but what they do, they're really, really good at. Sherney for $2. Interesting question. What defense is worse, this Falcons D or the 2022 Vikes? I'm going to go with the 2022 Vikes because at least on occasion, the Falcons have shown the ability to actually cover people. They just can't rush the passer. The Vikings couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Atlanta is bad but not generational.
Yeah,
in terms of being bad, like they're not good. Let's be honest, but they're not like, oh my God, burn it down and expunge all the records so that nobody can ever see that again. They're not like that.
Yeah, this Falcons defense is not getting Daniel Jones paid $40 million a year. Like, let's be real.
Oh, did you hear this? Sorry.
Huh?
I just have to share. Do you know what Daniel Jones is doing this week?
Playing scout team safety.
Yep.
They Deshaun Watsoned him when Deshaun was with the Texans and he was on his way out. They did the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like that's what they do with quarterbacks that are gone. Is scout team safety.
There, be in that passing lane. Nope, just right there. Nope, stand there.
It was weird that they had him like roll out there and like do like a message or a reading a statement to the press of like. I don't know. I thought that just made it even more awkward to me.
Dude, I'm not sure how that entire situation could go more sort of askew for the last several years, basically, not just the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I had a long discussion with someone close to the Giants this week about that, and we were just kind of going each milepost, right? And what they could have done here and what they could have done here and what they could have done here. And each time it was like, well, there's a good decision and a less good decision. Let's make the less good decision.
We got a false start. Flag fest tonight so far. Why don't they send Daniel home like what happened with Carr when he was on his way out with Vegas? I think the Carr thing was a lot more contentious.
Yeah.
Like a lot more contentious. Like I think Jones knows that like he lost the job because of his play, right? It's not necessarily a contentious thing. It's more just this is just awkward. The Carr thing was contentious because he wasn't playing poor enough to actually get benched. They benched him because they didn't want to, risk him getting hurt because they had other offseason plans for their next year at quarterback that may or may not have been legal. And those plans blew up in their face and they ended up with Jimmy G. But
yeah. No, and Carr at that point, very rightfully so, was like, fine, if you're going to do that, then get rid of me. Right? You can't, I'm not just going to sit here and go quietly if you're not going to play me when I'm healthy. Well, and
you remember they asked
really
him, if he would be willing to do a trade. And he's like, no, fuck you, release me. Like, I want to make it hurt.
Yeah. And I want the choice. I do. So, yeah, when you say it was more contentious, you're 100% correct. Daniel Jones is, I think, resigned to the fact that, he's going to have made a lot of money from the New York Football Giants and that he is not their quarterback going forward. I think he is fine with the first and, obviously as a competitor and an athlete upset with the second, but also like the wind is, we could have said the wind was blowing that way 2 years ago and did. I think he now realizes, and that's kind of the last bastion, right? That's the last when the athlete themselves kind of goes, okay, yeah, I'm not going to turn the tide here. Like there's enough. So, I'm sure he's not thrilled about it. He's also a very rich dude because he's gone out there and given his best and, it wasn't good enough, but that doesn't mean he didn't try hard. Yep.
Go ball to Pickens down the boundary.
And you got to get your head around. It's so scary versus Pickens because, again, that's just his. It's so his.
And not only, it wasn't even against Emerson. It was against Denzel Ward, who's been easily their best corner this year.
Oh, but see, right before, they picked it. They picked up the replay, the macro replay right after. So Pickens is so good at this, and this is not a shot at Pickens because he didn't get flagged for it. And there were 2 highlights in pregame where he showed this as well. He'll do it at different points in the routes. The highlights in pregame, he did it off the line. So that
How did he?
did he catch?
No, he
catch?
caught it, but it's amazing that he caught it.
Well, and Denzel's got his hand in there and it just dropped right in the bucket. That's unbelievable. So what he does off the line, or in that case, right before the catch point, is give the defender a really nice shove. He uses his arms very, very well. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's OPI. If he doesn't get flagged for it, guess what? It's not OPI. Is it aggressive? It is highly aggressive. And I think a lot of corners aren't used to receivers doing to them what they do to receivers all the time, which is put their hands on them, slow them down, push them, arm bar them, whatever. And Pickens will take every trick that's probably ever been used on him and use it on the DB at different points in the route. Makes him very difficult to defend, because if he gets a half step off press because he literally pushes off you and gets going, you might not catch up. He's got good long speed. And if he does it right at the catch point, he can't recover.
DeAndre Hopkins has done it for like 12 years.
Agreed.
And he learned it from Andre Johnson. Andre's like, hey, man, they're not going to call you 20 times a game. Like,
right.
Just do it.
Yeah, and if they flag you once and you get away with it 4 or 5 times, still advantage you. So, and you're going to make the defensive back uncomfortable, like very uncomfortable, because they never know when it's coming. And it's just like a boxer varying his punches or a pitcher varying his pitches, right? It's you don't really know what's coming when it's coming, so you're always a little bit, on the back foot, and it works extremely well for Pickens. He is a master of it. He was doing it in college as well. This is not a skill he learned in the pros. He was super aggressive with defensive backs in college. That was part of the MO on him, and he's just continued it in the pros. He is unafraid of coverage. Let's put it that way. Ooh, yeah, we can scratch that one from the playbook. That was either busted play or just a terrible design. I can't tell which.
Usually it's somebody screwed up.
It looked like somebody screwed up because that looked like nothing from the get-go.
But that always does tend to happen when Fields is in the game. That just somebody screws up when Fields is in the game. It's not always him, but somebody will. Like, that is the most cursed quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a 0. I wouldn't run that one again. A lot of things I'd run with Justin Fields. That's not one of them.
Yeah. Just call QB power, guys.
Hockey's dog. What was that? Yeah, that's basically what we were trying to say. Like, I trust me, as a Chicago fan, I've seen a bunch of that. Again, it's not all Justin. He had a lot of terrible plays called for him, especially in the early going for him. The coaching staff openly said, no, we're not changing anything for you, nor have we given you any first team reps. Good luck. And he went out and got shellacked in his first start. I think it was 9 sacks. He got the hell beat out of him.
Hendog 1000 for $10. Thank you, Hendog. Welcome back. Evening, gentlemen. Let's go full Yinzer tonight. I want a TJ Watt game-wrecking sack tonight. Woo. Break out some Gentleman Jack for tonight. Yes, no 128 proof here. I started with tea, but I do have an empty glass.
Ooh,
so I'm going to drink something tonight. I don't know what yet.
Ooh, do you have any of that, the stuff you brought back from Pittsburgh left?
I do. I have all of them, actually, I think. I have a Scotch cask. I think I still have the port cask. I got to dig it out.
The port cask one was delightful.
Actually, we might have polished that one off.
I was going to say, I don't think you have any of that left.
Now that I think about it.
Now that I think about it, that one might be gone.
I think they had a Madeira cask, too. I might still have some of the Madeira cask.
Madeira cask was tasty. I just had a Madeira cask. I texted you a picture of it, the Madeira cask anejo.
Oh, yeah, which is got to be unreal.
It was pretty good. I got to say, that was at a dinner with Brandon Scholes, who runs Seahawkers podcast. If you're a Seahawks fan, check out the Seahawkers podcast. Brandon does a tremendous job. I've been on there a bunch talking about draft stuff. He does 1 or 2 fan events every year in Seattle. And he was coming to town, so we went to dinner, and that was a lovely discovery at that particular restaurant. I was like, ooh, yes, please.
Snow is really coming down now.
Yeah.
I want to say this field is heated, so I don't know if it's really going to stick, but it might make things wet.
Oh, little vintage Nick Chubb. I missed him running the football. One of my people that have followed my work for a long time know that I am a massive Nick Chubb fan. He is one of my favorite current NFL players, regardless of team. And he's been really good for a long time. It's good to see him back out there, looking at least a little bit like Nick Chubb. And that last run, real good vision, real good patience. Almost came to a complete stop. A lot of young backs, which Nick is not, will just press and press and press. They patience is a hard thing to teach a running back who's always like, get it and go, get it and go. And sometimes you got to get it and stop. And Nick is as good at that as anybody else. And then when he gets going, of course, you know what he can do. So good to see him working his way back into the rotation, starting to display some of those traits again.
We have roughly 2 minutes left for David Njoku to get 7 yards.
Dude, the kicker thing really kind of made me start thinking about what we were going to do in the second half right away.
and there goes one of my Cedric Tillman catches. So
I
think we might have a cursed entry tonight, EJ.
I'm going to go back to my original one. So let's see. We had Pickens, and I think I originally had him at 54, and he's got, he got one big catch in the first quarter. So we're feeling decent about that. That feels like a good start. Let's put it that way. And then I don't know how many tackles, if any, Deshaun Elliott has. Tillman, I needed Tillman catches as well.
I think you also had Njoku yards, didn't you?
I had Njoku catches, and I believe it was
3.5.
4.5.
No, 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah. So 4, I was really happy about. 5, again, the line went to 4.5. 5 was, I don't want to say it was a bridge too far because he's had 6 catches in a couple of his recent games. So it's, again, right where it should be, right on the line. But at 3.5, I was quite happy about it.
Eric Celiax for $2. Russ and Denver having a fantastic divorce. Yeah, not going to lie.
Sure.
I think both of them are pretty happy, right?
Yeah, both went out and got the revenge bod.
Like, I think
that was good.
It was pretty good. The kids are perfectly happy with 2 Christmases. They get double the gifts. It's going great.
Yeah,
for everybody.
That's a great comment. I love that. That's very appropriate and true. They both.
Sean went to therapy. Russ did ayahuasca and found himself. Like it's great.
One of my good friends said, look for the phantom Aaron Rodgers injury now so he can go into the woods and smoke centipedes.
Oh, God. Aaron keeps hinting he's not going to retire, and I'm sure that terrifies the Jets. I'm sure that it's like, please, God, retire.
Yeah, right.
We need you to leave.
We're going to force your hand. Aaron's like, yeah, sure. Make me go. I dare you.
Woody's like, I will pay you $20 million off the books to leave me alone.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Okay, boot. Nope.
Russ had a touchdown.
Hey, remember what you said pregame, right? That he is not going to put the ball in harm's way like Jameis will. If that was Jameis, that ball was up.
But just a completely busted coverage. I think it was Freiermuth just running wide open down the field. Like, that's 6.
Yep. But no, Russ is, for the last 3 or 4 years, this is not a new thing. For the last 3 or 4 years, Russ has been turning those down. Like, no. He there's a very specific deep ball shot he takes, and it's the one we saw to Pickens. 1-on-1, pre-snap read identified, lets it go. Ooh.
George is like, please give me a reason to fight you. Please. No, Russ has been a lot better at throwing slants this season. Like, for whatever reason, he couldn't get placement right in Denver, but he's been great at them this year.
And Denzel got his hand on that ball as well. Denzel's got to be frustrated, man. 2 completions, both of which he had his hands on. Very rare in the NFL for that to be the case. 1, sure. 2 in a quarter? Give me a break. Like, he's got to be like, what do I have to do? This guy catches everything, whether I tip it or not.
George just has this weird, like, Doug Baldwin effect on Russ where he just puts it exactly where he needs to, specifically when it's going to Pickens.
Yeah.
All right, well, this entry's fucked.
Wah, wah, wah.
We're on a knife's edge, EJ. We dreamed to dream.
No, we weren't. We were never even close to the edge. We were solidly on one side and never made it over the ridge. Oh.
I will say, this is why we do
the second half slip.
No, not even. We did a flex on it. So we only need 3 out of 4. So we're still alive.
Can we do a second quarter entry?
We could.
Okay, let's do that. I kind of want to watch the taste of that first quarter.
Hold on. Let's see. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, by the way, holidays are coming, as you well know.
Yes.
Have you tried the Raz Cranberry LaCroix?
No, I haven't even seen that in stores.
Okay, check it out. I had not tried it either, and was at a store that didn't have some of my favorites, and I was like, okay, look, Thanksgiving's around the corner. I'll try a little cranberry something, right? Why not? And I don't think I want to drink it all the time, but it's quite refreshing. It's tasty.
So if we want to do an in-game entry, Pickens is up to 88.5 on the game.
And he has how many after that last little
41.
88 for the game? I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. Or if you want to go a multiplier of 1.86, you can go for a touchdown.
I mean,
I kind of
honestly, the way the offense is right now, like,
all right,
whose house do we win if we get both?
You can also do Najee.
Najee had the nice, again, with the offensive line mashing holes in Cleveland's defensive line. There's 2 ways to look at that. One is they got what they're going to get, and second half adjustments are going to shut that down. Or, hey, Cleveland just can't stop them. I'm more the former, not the latter. I think that's going to get clamped off by the second half. So
we can do Boswell again.
No, we cannot. Let's be perfectly clear.
Let's see. TJ Watt sack is on the board.
That seems reasonable, given.
That seems reasonable.
I mean, come on.
I need a Brown. David Njoku at 33.5.
Yes, hasn't gotten a sniff yet. So
that just means he's warming up.
Oh, is that what that means?
Or Freiermuth at 36.5. He's already at 22.
If it's not Pickens, I think it's Freiermuth in Russ's mind. Like, I don't think Russ has a litany of options for his passing game. He's like, it's like the flow chart. Is George open? Yes or no? Probably throw it either way. If absolutely not, Pat Freiermuth, that's it. That's the chart.
So I'm also throwing in Tillman at 2.5 receptions. Oh wait, what needs to be adjusted?
Ooh,
Pickens.
We got some Raz Cranberry fans in the chat.
There we go. All right, if anybody wants to tail the in-game entry, I'm going to throw the link for that in chat right now. Again, it's TJ Watt higher than half a sack, Freiermuth higher than 36.5 receiving. He's at 22 right now. Tillman higher than 2.5 receptions, and Pickens getting a touchdown tonight. So that's what we got.
There you go. It might wash the thought of our first quarter entry out of your mouth. I don't. No guarantees there.
All right. Speaking of, 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
For Russ. Letting it go.
Wide set to the field. He's gunning it.
Well, Calvin Austin basically just hit all of his overs in one catch.
Sure.
See, that's what we love from Russ. That deep ball gunslinger, man.
He was looking over there before the snap. He's like, all right, how are they gonna cover him?
Oh, he just
Help it.
got dealt it with a
Yep.
little nod.
Yep.
And see, that's the danger when you're in quarters or any other coverage like that, because the safeties are on islands against your number two, and if your number two runs a 4-3 like Calvin Austin against a safety, like you are playing with fire.
Yeah, and the places where we're seeing Russ look really good since he's started up with the Steelers is if he is winning pre-snap, he's winning big.
Yeah,
And if he has to win after like 1.2 seconds, it doesn't look as good. It looks kind of like, well, we went more than the first two reads.
now that you
Okay.
mention it, I'm gonna look up the numbers for Russ. Oh, that ball's out.
Doink.
I'm gonna look up the numbers this season
Oh,
for what Russ's passer rating is on
look at
throws
Russ stepping
under
away.
two
He's like,
seconds.
yeah, well, specifically in the last month, like, which is all he's really played. 4 games, 4 games, this would be 5. So, and even more so, what would be fascinating is split that month in two. First 2 weeks, second 2 weeks, because I feel like over the last 2 weeks, like again, if he wins pre-snap, which is anything he does within the first second and a half of the play, even 2 seconds, I'd be willing to go to. He looks pretty darn good. If it goes longer than that, like it's diminishing returns in a big way. You're not going to see him scramble around for 4.5, 5 seconds and come up with some massive down the field shot. Like, it's just not happening. So if he wins early, it's great for the Steelers. If he doesn't, like, get on to the next play with as little losses you can manage.
Throws 2.5 seconds or less.
Okay.
Passer rating 125.3 for Russ.
Yeah.
Good night.
And
six touchdowns, no picks.
And what's the more? 2.5 seconds or more. Because that's what I want to see is the difference between the two.
Goes down to 60.2.
Right, half.
Less than half.
Right? It's a 50% drop in efficiency. Or let's not say efficiency because that could be confused with a bunch of other stats. It's a 50% drop in passer rating if you go past the early section of the play, which is largely where Russ is winning with pre-snap reads. So I'm glad that the numbers back up the eye test there, because the eye test says, yeah, if you're going late in the play with Russ, it's not good for you. If he, is decisive early in the play, it's been pretty good for you.
Yeah, it ain't been terrible. All right. Just outside the red zone here.
How lucky are we? Huh? We got Thursday Night Football. We got rivalry game. We got weather, outdoor field. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Like, let's go.
First snow game of the year.
Yeah.
And we got Russ Moonballs.
Again, those jokes write themselves. I'm going to let them.
All right.
Oh. Okay.
So if you're on the 24, you're probably not going to go for it here on like 4th and 5, so you're going to bring out Boswell. Yeah, okay. If they were like 4th and
any
2,
predictions, Brett?
Dude, if he misses this one, I just give up. If they were 4th and 2, I think they might have gone for it.
If he misses this one, I don't care. Not the first one. If he misses this one, I'm out. Flag,
Okay.
flag.
Question is on who?
Pittsburgh.
Jesus Christ.
Does that count? Is that a half? Are you half done? Are you half quitting?
Tyler 808 for $5. Thank you, Tyler. How many QB runs are we going to see tonight due to what Taysom just did to the Browns on Sunday? Did you see Taysom's stat line?
Yeah, I mean, I watch all the games every Sunday, and I looked down at one point, and I was like, "Whoa, Taysom Hill! Look at that!"
Dude, he had like 40 points in fantasy. Hold on, let me pull up the exact stat line. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Let's see, let me find it here. Also, yes, I have to imagine them calling stuff with Justin so far in this game was directly influenced by Taysom Hill. So in that game, Taysom passing was 1 for 2 for 18 yards, also threw a pick. Rushing, 7 carries, buck 38, 3 touchdowns. Receiving, 8 for 50. Just an incredible game. Incredible game. Like, just a complete football performance other than throwing the pick.
So what you're telling me is that when he is eventually freed up from his responsibilities on the New York Football Giants, that the Saints should sign Daniel Jones as a Taysom Hill backup.
You know, that's not a terrible idea.
Dude, how much would you pay for Carr flanked by Taysom and Daniel Jones?
The whitest backfield of all time.
Easily. But a running
man.
threat from either side. I don't know. Can Daniel Jones
DJ is
block?
a good athlete, though. Like,
He's a great athlete. He's a tremendously good runner. He's a better thrower of the football than Taysom, but not by much.
and even then, is he?
Yeah, let's call it a draw. But
Yeah.
either one of them can run the ball. That really begs the question, though, because you don't want to tip your. Sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. You don't want to tip your hand at the defense because DJ can't block, right? I don't know. Can DJ block? Like, let's find out.
We could teach him. I mean, they got him playing safety.
Weak playing safety. You realize that, like, they could put a signboard out there and it would be playing safety as well,
It's
right?
just a human traffic cone in a red jersey. I love how they still put him in the non-contact jersey.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Just
You're a
emphasizing,
safety.
like, do not touch him.
You know what it's for?
Yeah, because the injury guarantee.
No. Safety.
You're on a roll with the dad jokes tonight.
I
Crushing
100%.
it. Crushing it.
100%.
Jawbreakers for $10. Tommy Cutlets. Time for New York Giants. Excited for him to win us out of QB range in another draft. At least I get to watch Tyron Tracy Jr. My Cavs are 15-1, so I'll take it. Yes, until recently undefeated Cavs, by the way. I don't really know how Giants fans are receiving the news that Tommy Cutlets is the new starting quarterback, because as Connor and Trev put it, it's basically the most blatant we are tanking that you can possibly have. Because if they weren't tanking, they would put Drew Lock out there, but they're clearly tanking because they didn't put Drew Lock out there.
I'm not sure that's true.
I mean, yeah, you're not entirely wrong. But
I'm like, if you made me bet on that particular fact from the outset, from a sort of Madden perspective, yeah. From the actual football on-field product, I'm like, not sure he gives you a better chance to win than Tommy Cutlets, which is its own whole bag of tricks to pull apart. But you know.
I'm curious how Giants fans are receiving it, though, because my initial reaction was like, guys, if you really wanted to tank for a quarterback, you could have done it last year. I mean, shit, you were in position to draft a quarterback last year.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda, and apparently, and this you never really know, none of us will ever really know. Apparently, the story was circulated before the draft that their owner, Mara, said, I'm giving you permission to draft a quarterback. If you feel that's best for the organization, which seemed like the most loaded statement ever. Holy cow.
Judy.
That was a dart. That was the opposite of a moonball. That was a rope.
Did that touch him? It kind of looked like it touched him.
It definitely touched him. The trajectory of that ball changed. That's
All right, now we're in feed Jerry Judy time.
Yeah, but like Jameis is firing. This is, I mean, if you're gonna get a Jameis Winston game, you don't want him handing off. Like that's not a Jameis Winston game. Like Jameis Winston is the definition, the modern day NFL definition of cut it loose. Like Go full Jameis
That's
means
how he got
freaking
30 and
chuck
30,
it up.
man.
That's right. It means chuck it up. So, is it really a Jameis Winston game if he hands it off? Yeah. Interesting. This is the same formation the Steelers ran on that play wide to the field beforehand. The Browns ran out of it and the Steelers passed out of it. That was the Calvin Austin completion. Same formation.
Con Steve for $2 asks, what upset EJ more, the blocked kick or the Hail Mary?
Hail Mary for sure, because it was way more. Both are preventable, but I like the Hail Mary was way more preventable in not only the play before it, but the actual way you defended it, both from the pass rush and the pass defense side. So there were like multiple layers of mistakes. Holy cow.
It's the Jerry Judy drive.
Jerry Judy is on fire. This is microwave Jerry Judy, which I don't think I've ever seen.
I don't know why Joey's complaining. I mean, he had his hand
Right
on the
there, because
shoulder.
he grabbed his helmet. No, he grabbed his helmet. Judy grabbed his face mask. Watch this. They're not going to show it again.
But, I mean, when Joey's grabbing inside, he's going to push you off, Like,
yeah, but I mean, Joey's going to complain that it was a face mask, not a shoulder.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I've ever seen Jerry Judy make 3 big catches in under 3 minutes.
Yeah, that might be the first time it's ever happened.
Right.
TJ Hayes, speaking up for $5. What is Jerry Judy as a player? Why hasn't he lived up to his draft pick? Because he is not a great tracker of the deep ball. He's not a super physical player. To me, I think his ceiling was always going to be like a number 2 type, like a Tyler Lockett type, if he actually could track the deep ball, but he just never added that as a component to his game. So he still has the weaknesses of Tyler Lockett in the sense that Tyler's not super physical. He's not going to break tackles. But he doesn't have Tyler's like unnatural ball skills that still made him like a true threat. So you're left with somebody who on a lot of teams is probably a number 3, right? As like somebody who's super shifty and like has great short area quickness, but like him pushing off against Joey Porter Jr. is one of the most physical things I've seen him do in like the last 5 years. Since he came into the league. Like, he normally just doesn't do that. He normally gets swallowed up by long physical corners.
Okay, Stefanski's having some fun here.
Now, that being said, the Browns already paid him, so he's there. But they're hoping that Tillman's going to be like their big, physical, fast X receiver, because that's never going to be Jerry. Never, ever, ever.
Now, one of the fun things that we're seeing from Dorsey here is that he's taking the same formations, making it look the same, and then doing different stuff out of it, which is what really good offensive play callers do. Now, is Ken Dorsey a really good offensive play caller? He has been in stretches. Yeah, I wouldn't say he is all the time. But over the early going here against Pittsburgh, I like some of the looks he's putting up, which are to say, hey, this is the same thing. We're going to make it look exactly the same way, but we're going to run it quite differently. And that's good for an offense to do. A lot of bad play callers don't do that. Everything looks different. Therefore, everything becomes a tell. Like, oh, the only thing they do out of this is this, whereas he's run the same formation 3 or 4 times and run basically 4 different plays out of it.
Yeah.
That's harder for a defense to keep up with. Oh, Elijah Moore sighting.
1 yard to go. I might go for it here. Just give it to Nick. Get me 1 more yard. Keep the drive going.
Well, they ran sneak earlier, and got 3.5 off it. So,
I mean, what do you have to lose? You're 2-8.
And you're playing Pittsburgh, and there's nobody you'd rather punch in the stomach than the Steelers. So, like, if you can get it over on them, it's just going to feel a lot better than your, average opponent. These teams know each other really well, and they always beat the hell out of each other.
Got it.
Nice.
Vintage Nick Chubb drive. He's had 6 carries on this drive alone.
Yeah. I love the quick feet, though. It was really good to see that. Like that little hop right before the line.
God, hell of a combo too on the front side.
Yep. And Nick Chubb's always had this. And again, yeah, that little skip step to get through the line, but it's the decisiveness, right? He knew. It's a lot like we were talking about Russell Wilson on the other side of the ball. Pre-snap, like Russ knows where he's going. And as soon as Chubb saw that blocking start to develop, he knew exactly what was going to happen. Made that little, it's almost like a half cut, like a skip cut. Like it's just like, I need to get there right now. So I'm going to like skip towards the line and cut at the same time, because I know that's where the hole is going to be. And to be that decisive, to be able to marry vision with that physical level of decisiveness, one of the reasons he's one of the best ever at running the football. And vision's always a tough thing. We get to the draft, we're trying to discern whether
and you have these college running backs with like 6-foot holes.
Yeah.
Like, how do I grade this?
Yeah, I don't know. But DeAndre Swift has had a very good season. What DeAndre Swift does not have is great vision. Again, you can win a lot of different ways in the NFL. It helps a lot as a running back if you have vision, but you don't necessarily need great vision, because DeAndre Swift does not have great vision. There's a lot of times he picks the wrong holes. Now in space, he's incredibly dangerous. He's a good receiver. Has great speed. But in terms of like tighter spaces, man blocking concepts, pick the right hole or anticipate the right hole opening, like Nick did there, I'm not putting money down on DeAndre Swift. Like, that's not the guy I want. I would much rather have Roshan Johnson doing that on the Bears. And again, it's a skill set that not every back has, but when you see it, and then again, the combination of, prime Nick Chubb, which I'm not sure we're back to yet in terms of explosiveness, you get that vision paired with that much physical skill, and you get one of the greatest runners in the modern era in the NFL, period.
Fade for $2. Stefanski seat heat check 1 through 10. 3?
Yeah, I was gonna say 2, 3. Like, I would say 2, probably, maybe 3. Depends on if they,
everybody knows what this is.
Yeah,
everybody knows what this is.
I mean, and yes, we've seen NFL teams let their head coaches go for less, and it wasn't justified then either. Like, this is not Stefanski's quote unquote fault.
Yeah,
like,
he was set up for failure.
It is impossible to play high level NFL football with a quarterback that is at historically low levels of efficiency. We gave a stat much earlier this season, it's probably 4 weeks ago, maybe even 5, that Deshaun Watson, out of like 762 ranked quarterbacks since like 2000, was number 760.
There's
almost.
The Njoku yards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, he was like in the last
it's
2.5 decades, he was historically bad.
Yeah, there's like 2 quarterbacks worse than him. And of course, bootleggers, being as intrepid they are, went right out and looked up the other 2. That was my favorite.
Counter argument: billionaires don't like being wrong. True.
Well, true.
But if Stefanski got fired, he would get hired like literally immediately. Like, you're telling me the Jets would not call him the same hour that news broke that he got fired?
There it is. Nick Chubb, touchdown, Cleveland.
Really cool moment, by the way, because Nick Chubb got injured against the Steelers last year, if I recall correctly. So this is just kind of a great full circle moment. He was the engine of the drive. He got him on that 4th down. He punched it in. Like, that's just cool. Good for Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Great for Nick Chubb. One of my favorite players. And whenever there's a situation, there are always 2 sides to a coin on a team. And as critical as we have been and continue to be of the Deshaun Watson decision with Cleveland, you have to remember there's a lot of players there that had nothing to do with the Deshaun Watson decision. Like, they got drafted. They're there. They're playing. They're doing the best they can. They're getting asked by the press, "Oh, what do you think of Deshaun? What do you think of Deshaun? What are you going to say about your quarterback?" Like, he's been good since he got here. He works hard. It is what it is. I'm not commenting on somebody else's life outside of the facility. I'm not friends with the guy. Like, there's a lot of other people, and it's not just players. It's trainers and folks that sell tickets for the Browns, and everybody else, community liaisons who work for Cleveland, and they get asked to do a lot of things to kind of make up for public image nightmares that have been created that have nothing to do with their decisions. Makes it really, really hard. But players like Nick Chubb, who are great NFL players, have played well for a really long time. And Nick's like historically quiet guy. Getting a quote out of Nick Chubb is very, very difficult. He's not a talker. I'm sure he has thoughts about it and whatever, but he's like, hey, I'm just here. Like, I believe in the Browns. I'm going to do the best I can for my team. And all the rest of it is outside my sphere of influence. I might not be happy about it, but what am I going to do? Like, decide I'm just going to sit down? Like, there's so many people involved in an operation as big as a football team that are affected by decisions like that. Make no mistake. Like, it all gets painted with the same brush, but they had nothing to do with that. And, it's just a tough situation. So I'm super happy for Nick that he is back from injury. He's gone through some major injuries in his career and come back amazingly every time.
Hendog asked, did they just replace his entire knee because he's had a ton of injuries over the years? Yeah, people forget. Like, he did that brutal injury he had last year. He's done it twice.
Yeah.
Twice. Like, that is, I can't even imagine going through it once, let alone twice. And the amount of stem cells flowing through that man, his blood's just 50% stem cells. But it worked.
From space. Yeah. Holy
we can
cow.
rebuild him.
Did you see? You're watching all 22. Did you see the behind version? Did you get that on kickoff? Holy cow! Did that ball bend?
Oh, I didn't. No, I was wide.
That ball was like, wow. Looked like one of my drives off about the 12th tee when I used to play golf. The first 7 or 8 were really good, and start to get tired, and look out.
Nick Urbaszewski. Wait, Urbaszewski or Urbaszewski? Polish. That much I think I know. For $5. Time for a dirty Dr. Pepper. Gonna make one every field goal. Wish me luck. Also, bear down even though they make me sad. What I have as a question for you, Nick, is what do you use to make it a dirty Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Impartial to rum.
Yes, what are we dirtying up the Dr. Pepper with?
Good dark Dr. Pepper. I would even throw in just a little dab of like a Mr. Black coffee liqueur. That works well too.
Sure. Making like old school like apothecary cough syrup.
Yeah. It's an acquired taste, but it's my taste.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that at all.
Dr. Pepper kind of goes with everything though, because it tastes like everything. It tastes like everything and nothing.
Okay. I'm not sure that's in their marketing campaign.
Oh, Russ. Oh, my God.
You cannot forget the ball, but he pokes it away, and it's not round, so it
Brown's ball.
Reed.
Oh, yep. Russ. That's on him, and he knows it.
Yeah, you can't forget the football.
And we got shirtless Clevelanders in the stands in the snow. Let's go. It was a dog pound kind of game.
I was going to wear my I've got the big dog face outline shirt, which I just love that shirt. It's a great Amish shirt, very comfortable. This too is an Amish shirt, like the TJ Watt shirt, but that all brown. It's one of the very few brown shirts that I own. But yeah, can't forget the football, Russ. Most important bit. Yeah, that's the other thing is this Steelers style of football doesn't allow for more than basically like one of those per game.
Yeah. They don't have a huge margin for error, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you have 2 of those, you're probably not winning with the style of football.
Oh, man, Jameis, after that first drive, he's really come on.
Yeah, he's balling. And just for us, Elijah Moore gets to have a night.
Just for us.
Just for us, Elijah Moore gets to have a night. Since EJ didn't wear his brown shirt, he should go shirtless. I'm not sure you want that.
Wait, do you have a brown shirt from Homage?
Yeah. Yeah, I wore it during the summer preview.
What is it? Is
it? You can go back and look at it.
Who is it?
No, it's the all brown with the orange dog head outline.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
That one's cool. Like I really like that design, and again, I think It'll be a fun day when I can wear that shirt again without, fear of having to explain at the supermarket why I'm a fan of, this player or that player that's not quote unquote on my team. I just like this shirt. It's a cool shirt.
Jason says, I make one using a Corona and Di Serono. You pour out or drink the neck of the Corona. You fill it with that much Di Serono. Tastes exactly like Dr. Pepper. What?
So it's like the bastard diver down. Like what?
That tastes like Dr. Pepper. How does that taste like?
Okay.
I mean, I have to try that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a chemistry experiment for the next time we're together.
Hold on, I need to save this.
Yeah, like mark that down because I've heard a lot of things. I don't believe I've ever heard that one, and I'm willing to give it a shot. I mean,
All right, there. I saved it by tweeting it, so now I can go back to it later. Get a Corona and Di Serono tomorrow at the store.
first of the Magi said, hearing reports that Cedric Tillman's in the game. Can anyone confirm?
He's in. He's in.
I have seen him running around. That's all I can confirm is that he has been running around. Yeah, apparently Jameis heard that he was on our entry and therefore is avoiding him like the plague. It's much like when Brett used to draft any 49er skill player, they would immediately head to Shanahan's doghouse for like a year.
Yeah, no, you could pretty much set your watch to me starting Ayuk and then Debo having a big game, or me starting Kittle and then Ayuk having a big game, and then me starting Debo and then if I insert RB3 having a big game. Like,
Okay,
Shanahan hates me.
we have confirmation that the Corona Di Serrano thing actually does taste like Dr. Pepper.
We have to try that for Summer Series
Dude,
or Super Bowl or something.
I was gonna say maybe even sooner than that. We might have to have some of those at our little gathering at the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, at Shrine. Matthew Wright for $2. Should Joe Staley be in the Hall of Fame? Hold on, let me look at the resume. Because Joe Staley, like among the best of his generation, but typically for offensive tackles, you have to be in like that exclusive club that gets like, a 6 to 8 year stretch of dominance. So he did have 6 Pro Bowls between 2011 and 2017, 3 second team All Pros, no first team All Pros, no All Decade.
Mm-hmm. Going to be Hall of Very Good. Probably.
That's going to be like a 49ers Ring of Honor, yep. Right? But that's tough to make it as a tackle with that resume, right? But it's one of those where it's like I remember him very fondly, and he was better than probably the accolades that he got. But unfortunately, the writers vote based on resume, not necessarily about watching them. If you watch Joe Staley, Joe Staley was a badass, but writers don't typically do that, unfortunately.
Okay, so we got a 2-minute drill, basically Cleveland in the red zone. Well, maybe not anymore after that, but roughly Cleveland in the red zone. Looking to try and put some points up, stretch the lead out a little bit, and yeah, I was just made aware that Jermaine Ifedi is in the game.
Wait,
you know how?
Jermaine Ifedi is still 65. In the NFL?
65, just got a flag on him.
I did not know that Jermaine Ifedi was still in the NFL.
I said I just learned, and there was a reason why I said I just learned.
When did that happen?
Yeah, he's backing up. Well, I mean, he's listed as the backup right tackle, Jack Conklin, but no, he is in the game getting flags. And that's a familiar spot.
Everybody getting catches except for Tillman. Awesome. Great.
Got
Judy and Elijah Moore both having 3.
And Njoku. Like, come on. Yeah.
It's typical.
Yeah, very. I mean, credit to Jameis. Like, he was the guy that was open. This is not him forcing it in there. Like, he surveyed the field all the way to one side and back. See his head, swap. Oh, that's my guy. Boom. And he's making the correct decision. Just doesn't necessarily happen to work out with our entry, but that's okay.
Talking about bootleg curses, Nick for $2 says that Pickens free pick last year from Underdog. Yes, we remember it well, Nick.
Dude, that was...
Can he get half a yard?
That was disastrous. They ended up... This is one of the reasons that Underdog's extremely cool to work with. They were like, okay, we'll give it to you. It's okay. Everybody that bet that got it because they were like, our bad. We weren't trying to trip you up.
Well, here's the thing. It's not even that he got a goose egg. He got negative.
It's like, I know.
-2.
It's like -2 or -4 or something. I was like, come on. Like that is the bootleg. Well, we'll just call it the bootleg curse at this point. Oh, no.
That was the second time it happened to us, too, because we did that Rodgers free pick week 1 as well. So it happened twice.
Oh, jeez. Yes. That I'd forgotten about. I had purged that from my memory. The Pickens one was still fresh in my memory. I do not love the third down play call.
You mean you don't love runs on 3rd and long in the red zone? Yeah, neither do I. They clearly were thinking, okay, we're playing with 4-down territory here, so we're going to run it to get yards, but...
Yeah, but then what?
But then you set yourself up with a 4th and 6, and he's trying to catch him in a hard count to set up 4th and 1, and it's very transparent.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have to kick a field goal.
Which, yeah.
Not a fan of that sequence overall.
No, do not like.
That's just getting cute for cute's sake.
It's almost like the anti-cute. So early on in the year, first 3 games, Shane Waldron had this thing that, again, it's one of those sort of eye tests. Am I seeing this correctly? Like, I would look up, it would be first down. They'd run a first down play. I'd look down for a second. I'd look up, it'd be 3rd down. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. And Shane Waldron just had this thing where he had a like deep hatred of 2nd down, and he would just run like, hey, DeAndre Swift, take this ball, run directly into the line. And he would just do it over and over. It was almost like he was just pitching 2nd down to make 3rd down a little bit harder. It was like a degree of difficulty dial-up thing or something. He was, not treating 2nd down like an actual down where you could run creative football plays. And as a result, they would go first to third all the time. And then he finally broke out of that. But it kind of looked like Ken Dorsey just said, I don't really want this 3rd down. Like, I'm going to spread them out, just run to the middle. And like Pittsburgh's not going to bottle that up again.
I really got to piss. Let's go to halftime, guys. Well, and here's the thing. If you're going to run it, fine.
Are you just channeling the Cleveland fans?
If you're going to run the ball, fine. But don't run the ball leaving TJ unblocked on the edge as a read man and just hoping that he chases Jameis and not Nick Chubb. Who do you think he's going to crash on between Jameis Winston holding the ball and Nick Chubb getting the ball? Like, where do you think he's going to go?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's not like it's
Jameis
Lamar.
Is an interesting run threat. Yeah, Jameis is an interesting run threat. Nick Chubb is an actual run threat.
So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes that's the thing. I love Stefanski. His job's not in danger. Sometimes he will kind of outsmart himself. Let's see here. Let me double check, make sure we're not behind on super chats. I think we're good. How about that? Oh, here's one. Johan Hernandez for $2. Cam Hayward, Hall of Fame. Without even looking at his resume, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to double check it. But like my first instinct is like,
right,
yes,
but
of course.
I don't think it's, I think it is. I'm with you. I'm for sure. It might be a bit.
It's not going to be first ballot because it's really hard for defensive tackles to get first ballot, honestly.
It's position. It has nothing to do with Cam. It's that,
it's not just that. He played in the Aaron Donald era, and when you play in the Aaron Donald era, like I'm sorry, all the awards went to him. All the accolades went to him. So,
yeah.
But here's his resume. So, 3-time first-team All-Pro in the Aaron Donald era. That's hard to do.
Ding, ding, ding.
2017, 2019, 2021. A second-team All-Pro in 2020. 6-time Pro Bowler. And Walter Payton Man of the Year. which does matter. The voters love to put winners of Walter Payton Man of the Year in the Hall because that's a very prestigious thing. Clearly, he's going to be, in the ring in Pittsburgh. Like, that is non-negotiable. I think that's a Hall of Famer.
I feel like the Hall is probably non-negotiable for him. Again, it will take a while. It might be more of a wait than a lot of, Pittsburgh fans would like. I think he'll get there. Like, I think at some point, and maybe earlier on, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be very soon after he's eligible. But somebody's going to sit down at that table and make a very convincing argument that is not going to be very long and say, nah, this guy goes in. Like,
yeah.
And they might do it by process of elimination. Like, who was better and who was better for longer during the year? And the answer is going to be a few guys were better. Who was better for longer? Basically, nobody outside of Aaron. And, longer is going to be debatable because Cam's not done playing yet. So
I'm trying to see most first-team All-Pro selections for a defensive tackle. Because I'm wondering.
Oh, Steven, we missed your super chat. Put it back in. We'll answer it. No extra money. Just put it back in the chat. We'll get it.
Oh, found it. Steven Bonsignore for $5.
Yep.
If you were brought in as a coach and asked to run a gimmick offense or defense, what would your scheme be? Can I just copy paste the Portland State, what they ran in the 90s with Mouse? Kind of the run and shoot off. I guess you can call it an offshoot of the run and shoot, right?
That's probably about right. Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, having lived through the original run and shoot, which was also super fun, the Smurfs and Houston and all that good stuff, Warren Moon and Ernest Givens, and that was a great time.
Let's see if I can find a Mouse Davis clinic.
Mouse is amazing. We getting a flag? No flag. All right. So this is where you get to sort of make your bed and lie in it. Like, the officials are like, hey, you've been hand fighting all game. You got away with it early. You didn't get away with it there. It was even, and we're not going to call it.
Introducing the news.
Him and Emerson.
Here, Steven, I'm going to drop a link. I mean, don't leave the stream, obviously. But here's a Mouse Davis run and shoot. And again, they put up ridiculous numbers at Portland State with this. And Mouse Davis is a hugely influential offensive coach. Oh my God, Myles Garrett just crushed Russ.
Yeah, remember what we said about before 2.5 seconds or after?
Yeah.
That was the pull it down. Oh no, that's what Pittsburgh fans don't want to see. They want to see the early, decisive, get rid of it, Russ. They do not want to see the look there, no covered, look there, no, oh, pull it down, oh no.
Hell of a welcome to the NFL moment for Zach Frazier too. It's we're sliding to handle a stunt, and all of a sudden it's, oh shit, I got to handle Myles Garrett.
Solo, yeah. Not too many people in the NFL that can do that.
As for gimmick defense, if I was going to run this is still answering Steven's question. If I was going to run a gimmick defense, does a gimmick defense even exist?
Oh, come on. Of course they do.
Can I just run engage 8 every play?
See, if we had the super bat phone hooked up for this stream, which we don't, we could just call up Matt Quarters, right?
Yeah.
Hey, come tell us your favorite 5 because he would have them on tap.
Gimmick defense, man. I'm sure there is one that exists. I just don't know what it is.
I mean, call Vass. I'm sure Vass has got some.
He's like, oh yeah, I designed one myself. I use it only when we're playing against
Saturday
wing T teams. Yul Young, if only Faatanu didn't get injured, we would be so sick to see rookies all in at center, right guard, and right tackle. I mean, you guys know we were huge Faatanu guys. It really sucked that he just never never really had a true healthy opportunity this season. I think he was healthy for what, a week, maybe, right? And now Frazier, we always knew was inevitably going to be a starter. I don't know why they didn't make him the starter off the rip, and he only got the job initially because of injury, even though he was clearly the better center on the roster. So either way, I'm happy that he's starting. And then Mason McCormick also took him a little bit of time to get in there, but I remember when he got drafted, and Each and I were both like, that's eventually going to be a starter as well. And now he's a starter for them too. So I think future is very, very bright for the Steelers' offensive line, and that's why they spent so many damn picks on it. Is because they're trying to build a wall there, and it's the most they've invested in the offensive line since whenever they took David DeCastro, right? And then they had Pouncey and DeCastro, and who was the left? I can't remember who the left guard was, but they had a really damn good offensive line in the Killer Bees era. It's been a while.
Yeah, funny enough, DeCastro was a local high school player to me.
You say it was Stillicum?
No, he was East Side. He played over W. There was this very East Side to largely Palo Alto connection. There were a lot of Stanford linemen that came from the East Side after DeCastro, right before and right after DeCastro. So, no, we knew that it was going to be a very good line eventually. Eventually came really quickly, and I don't think any of us are really sad about that. Eric Ciliacs for $2 says, just want to shout out Josh Downs, our rising star. No need to shout him out to me, Eric. He was one of my offensive gems that year. He was the guy I literally couldn't get off my list. Like, I tried. Several times where it's like, this guy or this guy, this guy. And at the end, there's guys that are just kind of coin flips. He wasn't a coin flip for me. I was like, I'm not flipping any coins. He's on my list. Like, I can't get him off my list. I've tried. And at the time, that was not a super popular take. There are a lot of people that like Josh Downs, but when you're only picking 5 offensive players out of the entire draft, he wasn't at that level for a lot of people. For me, he was. Every time I watched his tape, I was like, this guy's making plays. Of course, it depends on landing spot. Of course, it depends on avoiding injury and everything else. But if those things happen, he's going to be a very good player in the NFL. And sure enough, like, Josh Downs is a baller.
Steven, if you're still here, there was a great answer that was provided by Fade. The amoeba defense. That would be the gimmick defense that I would choose.
Oh, yeah.
So give me just Mouse Davis's run and shoot, the Portland State era run and shoot, and then we're playing the amoeba defense.
Right, and then no specialists, just all trick plays.
Yeah, no, fuck kickers. Like, we're going for it every single fourth down, and no punters.
Yeah, no, that I'm buying a ticket to that. That's entertaining. Like, if that was local Friday Night Lights and somebody was like, "This is what we're doing," we might not get anybody offered for D1 ever, but it's going to be fun on Friday night if you buy a ticket and show up. Popcorn's $3. Let's go.
Middle Idaho 8-man football.
It's more players, but most football systems, again, there's nothing truly new under the sun. There's lots of rearranging, but most football systems, if they're run really well, like, y'all know this, y'all have football programs in your area where they don't run whatever's trendy. They've been running the same thing for 20 years, for 30 years, whatever. And they run it really, really well. It's like, oh man, when we go up against Millhouse High, they're going to run that wing T stuff and they're going to kill us with it because nobody else runs that stuff anymore. But man, they've been doing it for 30 years and it's still entertaining.
Was it De La Salle up in Northern California?
Yep.
That run that shit, like, and it's the same offense they've run since the 80s.
Sure.
But nobody else runs it, so they're impossible to prepare for.
Oh, it's not too early because people have been asking forever. Now, we don't have full workups. We don't have grades. We don't have rankings because we haven't watched enough people yet. But occasionally we're going to find really fun players. Have you heard of a Land Larison?
No. What school?
UC Davis.
Occasionally we get players out of UC Davis and they'll go to like the Hula Bowl or something like that. And you're like, there's something there. Or like a Cal Poly, right?
Land Larison has a Shrine Bowl invite. We're gonna get a chance to talk to Mr. Larison. He is 6'1", 220, and he is a running back. And he's had multiple games this year where he's had 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Is he like where on the Tyrone Tracy scale is he of like he could just do whatever?
He's way bigger.
Well, yeah, I mean Tyrone's big, but he's not 6'1", 220. That's like Isaac Orendo size.
He's a big dude. So, anyways, we'll just throw some fun names out of like, hey, maybe you haven't heard of this guy. Go check him out. The tape's fun. Yeah, we'll just do that throughout the season. We'll just drop a few of those nuggets, certainly on the pod, but Thursday nights we'll try and spice things up. We'll probably drop some of those on the Patreon as well. We dropped our first patron-only preview last week, so definitely trying to show some love to the patrons who showed so much love to us doing the podcast. And we'll be dropping some fun stuff. We'll be doing some little testers. Not everything's going to last. Not everything's going to land, but certainly making the effort. So look for that kind of stuff there as well.
Have you watched Jalen Royals, the Utah State kid yet? The receiver?
Okay. Yes, I have.
He's fun.
But I sent this, hang on. I sent this earlier to a fellow draft analyst of ours this morning because, as you know, I was up very early this morning, not by choice, but I was, going through my draft list and making sure they're updated, and invites for All-Star games are going out, so making sure those guys are on the list. And I said the amount of Jalen, Jalen, Jaylin, Jaylin, Jalen, Jaylen, Jaydn in this draft is going to fry my circuits. There's like, I was going through and like 4 guys in a row were Jalen, or Jaden.
Oh, you forgot about Braden and Caden as well.
I was just like, every year there are matching names. There are names that are very close, different positions, whatever. There are so many Jalen, Jadens in this draft. I'm not going to get it right. I'm going to spell it wrong. I'm just pre-apologizing to all of them. I am not trying to mess your name up. There's 11 million of you this year. I can't keep you all straight. I'm trying.
Yeah, John Smith number 1 throws to John Smith number 2. Like it's
correct. So and the response was, lol, yeah, it's awful this year.
Well, because this is like peak like Gen Z draft class, right? And those were the names that everybody decided to give their kid all at the same time in like 2003.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was, but
it's difficult. I was just working through lists this morning, and I was like, another Jalen spelled differently? Wow. Okay.
JT of the QB school was a UC Davis alum, right? I think he was.
Yes, I believe that's correct. I screw up my California schools, but I do believe he was a UC Davis alum.
So JT is also in the NFL Access Pass program, and the reason why he joined it is because they reached out to JT and they're like, hey, do you want your all-22 from the 49ers when you threw for like 400 yards or whatever? Right. And he's like, you have that? And they're like, yeah.
Let's go.
I don't know if he's done the breakdown yet, but eventually you're going to get a JT breaking down JT video.
Yeah, he was talking about it when he was on Bear Era a couple of weeks ago. After we finished taping, he was mentioning that like I might get that tape, and if I do, I think it'd be fun to basically just do me like critiquing me. I think it'd be great.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, JT's got some fun stories from his times around the league.
JT's amazing. A lot of different experiences, and I think a really healthy attitude. Like he was, I think all pro athletes are fairly high ego in some ways, but on the scale, JT is incredibly low ego. He knew. Oh my God. He knew what he was there for. He's as down to earth as you're going to get as a guy who's a former pro athlete. He understood the assignment every time, and that allowed him to thrive. And he's very proud of that, and rightfully so. The
chillest human I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, and I would say, and I've said this on most of the podcasts he's been on, either on Bootleg or my other channels, and just the realist. Like the first time we got to meet him in person was when we were recording right before we went to Elite 11,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he came to your place when I was down in LA, and we sat down and did our quarterback preview bit. Or I guess that was draft season. And I was down for...
Yeah, it was this past draft season.
Oh, I was down for Pro Day. That's what it was. Caleb's Pro Day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I was down for Caleb's Pro Day, and we said, hey, JT, would you be willing to swing up and record in person? And he was like, if you two are in the same spot, absolutely, I'm doing it. And, JT's great like that. But I'd never met him in person. And he rolled in, and immediately you're like, that's the same guy you get on film every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. There's no distinction. Some people have a very distinct personality when they're doing this for an audience, and when you meet them in person, they're very different. They're either higher strung or more chill or whatever. JT, exactly the same dude, 100%, as real as it gets.
Mr. Louis for $5 says, engage 8 every play. You mean the grit splits of the 77 Falcons, who still hold the record for the least amount of points allowed per game. Great choice. That is a defense that I would love to break down. I do not have access to all of their games yet. But I could.
Dum, dum, dum.
I could. I'm sure. The All-22 almost guarantee doesn't exist. Broadcast, I'm sure the NFL has all the broadcasts lying around. I can get my hands on that.
Yep.
NCLHC for $5 says, hey guys, I know it's still early, but when scouting linebackers, look at Sean Dolak from Buffalo. Dude is an absolute demon. Keep up the great content. I have not
on my
watched
list.
him.
I have not watched him, but he is on my list.
Is he going to Shrine?
On my list. I don't know. I don't believe so. He was on my list from late summer. Somebody mentioned him to me.
Buffalo linebacker just sounds like a Shrine Bowl guy.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, like I'm in. Like I'll put him on the list. So we will absolutely check him out. Always appreciate suggestions like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 11 games.
Mm-hmm.
How many total tackles do you think he has?
165.
Close, 146. But the fact that you just threw out 165 and he's not that far off.
What do I win? Come on.
146, 4
enough.
sacks, 5 picks.
I was not aware of the 5 picks yet. Like I said, I haven't watched him, but yeah, I knew the tackles numbers would be insane. Holy cow. Oh, the ball come out?
No.
Nope. All right, so another absolute dot from Jameis, just drilling it in between the numbers. That one to Njoku.
I gotta watch this kid. Fucking 146 tackles and 5 picks.
Yeah, he's on my list.
The hell are they feeding him?
Wings.
Yeah.
Lots of wings.
Yeah. Just going to bar bill before every game. Maction, baby.
Maction. All right, now we're getting snow that you can actually see on the field broadcast, not just in the lights. Typically, to be able to see whatever's going on with the weather, they give you that great light shot of the stadium, rain coming down, snow, whatever. Now you can actually see it versus the background of the field, so it's picking up. I don't know. This is just perfect right before Thanksgiving. Division clash, bunch of snow. Jameis ripping it to wide open. Who is that? Oh no! Oh, no!
Is it out?
Oh yeah!
Oh my God! Look at Joey pointed at him.
What are we doing here?
Oh yeah, that's out.
Doink!
That's way out.
He got blown up. By who?
Was that Elliott?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. So it kind of works. So did we have catches or yards with Tillman? Because that counts as a catch.
We had catches. But that might be the only one he gets.
Shush. Shush. You're not helping. I was trying to be excited about two
Gotta
things
look.
at once. Come on.
I love that Steelers devil magic. Yes, Hockeys. Just when they need it.
Well, it does seem to be just when they need it in terms of Steelers, which is why
Oh,
comparing anybody to Tomlin is not the thing.
man, Najee was he just had to beat one guy, and he went had a 20-yarder out of that.
Yeah.
My local bar is a Bills bar, and I can say without a doubt the Bills have one of, if not the best fan bases in pro sports. They're incredibly nice and fun to hang out with, and they know their football. I love
Hell
Bills
yeah.
fans. I adore them.
Yes. Oh my! Again.
Oh my God! It's out again.
It came out. Okay, now the snow's going.
Remember what we said? The moisture makes all these gloves super slick.
Is he?
Oh, his knee's down. His knee's down.
He's down.
Yeah.
Down. Like way down. Okay. Yeah, no, Bills fans are amazing. For those that don't know, my entire dad's side of the family, my dad was born in Buffalo. So all my aunts and uncles, my godparents, everybody, they're all Buffalo folks. And I have grown up around generations of Bills fans at this point. And yes, my cousins are all Bills fans. And, it is. It's a great fan base to go tailgate in the lots outside Highmark. It's a great experience. We've got some fun B-roll from when we were there for the Packers Bills game.
Oh, you doing the shot out of the bowling ball?
Yeah,
a little bit of filing cabinet pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, full hygiene. Full-time hygiene.
There's a 9x multiplier on a Mike Williams touchdown. Oh my God.
Yikes. A moon ball.
It's just underdog saying, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. We dare you. Like, have at it.
If Brett was on the Steelers, if Brett was on the Steelers staff, the teams they faced would get hit by plague and locusts and shit. Honestly, if I was on the Steelers staff, all of a sudden their devil magic would stop working. If we're being real about it.
Yeah. It never works the way he wants it to, folks. He always is like genuine about like, no, I want this to happen, and then bam. Kind of the other way. All right. 3rd and 7 here. If the Browns shut this down, the defense just did their offense a solid. Okay, Russell.
Oh my God, he stayed up. Not quite enough though. He's going to be just barely short.
Yep, he's short.
Oh wait, they're giving it to him.
No,
he was short.
I think I'm throwing the flag. If I'm Stefanski, I'm like getting somebody yelling down from the box like he did not.
His butt hit like a yard short. There's no way.
Yeah, no, he's like a full yard short of that. That's a terrible spot. Yeah, he's down right there.
Oh my God, and they gave it to him. Oh no, never mind. They did call 4th and inches. Never mind. All right.
Okay.
Ball don't lie. Ball don't lie.
And the Browns defense indeed bails their offense out after the Tillman fumble.
Did you see that?
Look at
see that guy?
Yeah, I did. That's awesome.
God, I love that city.
Good spot. And again, we talk about it all the time on the podcast. Complimentary football, right? Things aren't always going to go your way. Look, great helmet right on the football. Tillman hits the eject button. Not necessarily his fault. Defense comes out and goes, "That's okay. We got you. We're not giving up anything." They didn't even give up, a first down. That's crazy. Not intelligent going for it on 4th. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there at all. All right, we missed our opportunity during halftime to say, where are you in the world of the chat? But we haven't had a super chat in a while, so we're not going to bury any. If you feel like it, and you're okay with it not being at halftime, go ahead and type in the chat where you're watching from. We love all of our fans of bootleg. As we are reminded on a weekly basis, we are not a national podcast. We are an international podcast. We have lots of bootleggers who do not live in the States, and couldn't love that more. So let us know where you're at, and we will holler out some of the ones. North Korea. Okay. Internet's pretty good. Edmonton, Alberta. What's the temperature, Kev, in Edmonton, Alberta right now?
My Hellcat about to leave the gym.
There we go.
That's a deep cut that not everybody's going to get, but that's
cut.
great.
That is correct. Is this an absinthe TNF stream? It is absolutely not an absinthe TNF stream. I have that same bottle that I took, whatever it was, 4 shots out of, or 2 shots out of that stream, in the garage, and it has not moved since. Like, I know right where it is because it's in the exact same spot. I've not had one sip of that stuff since that stream.
On purpose.
So no. Yeah. Perth, Australia. Okay. Weather's probably a bit better in Perth than it is in Edmonton. 11 in Edmonton. First major snowfall of the year. Thanks, Kev. There you go. Just like the game. We got Edmonton snowfall. We got Cleveland snowfall.
I saw a Lincoln, California mention. By the way, whoever was shouting that out from Lincoln, my whole family is in Auburn, right down the road, ish, sort of, kind of. I mean, kind of down the road. I mean, there's not that many roads out there, so it's the road.
All right. Matt R., you're going to have to tell me how to pronounce that. Is that Shiocton, Wisconsin?
Shickton?
I don't know.
Or Shockton?
I don't know. I've never seen that town or city name before, so I'm fascinated. All right. Still, everybody loves running it through the middle when it starts snowing, apparently, because that's what everybody's doing. Another Adelaide, Australia. Very nice. Germantown, Maryland. Just got back from work dinner at Buffalo Wild Wings. Don't ask. I'm confused as well. I don't know. Buffalo Wild Wings has some decent food. I spent like entire seasons there.
The cheese curds aren't like half bad.
Well, you know.
Noah said, "Wait, Auburn, what the fuck?" Yes, my mom, if you know Placerville High, proud graduate of Placerville High, and my dad grew up in Salinas, which is not near you, but still Northern California.
Yep. Oh, tip ball. No, nobody near it. Dadeville, Alabama.
Hangtown?
Minnesota?
Is that a real name?
What
an unfortunate town name.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the aforementioned Cam Hayward, getting his hands up.
Champaign, Illinois.
And that one was going to, who is that a target for?
I didn't even see.
Hillman.
Of course.
Of course. You should have known better.
Oh, Durham, North Carolina. Great area.
Yep.
Love Durham.
Milford, Mass.
Columbus. There's a Columbus, Indiana?
Sure.
There's multiple Columbi? I didn't know that. Jacksonville, Florida. Let's go.
A tiny town in New Hampshire. Ellie, which one?
Oh, it's probably beautiful this time of year, too. Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Leaf season was about 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? Like peak leaf season.
They're dropping off. They've been dropping off hard for a couple of weeks. Oh, somebody's just giving us Latin longitude. That's scary. I don't think I want to Google that. It's probably going to put me on a list.
Hoboken in the chat.
There you go.
Halifax.
Baltimore, Maryland. Princeton, New Jersey. There you go.
Bradford, New Hampshire.
No kidding.
How far away is that from your people out there?
Not far. I mean, not far because New Hampshire's this big.
Well, it's a sliver. Yeah, you could walk across it in a day.
Yeah. So no, you have to drive through New Hampshire to get anywhere farther into the Northeast. So no, that's my parents spent time teaching. Yeah, being instructors for the Peace Corps not far from there.
Nikki wanted, because we have like a flight credit we have to use by the end of the year. So she's like, oh, we should go on like a little trip. Because my wife's birthday's on New Year's Day. So we always do something like the week between Christmas and New Year's for her birthday. She's like, oh, you want to go on a trip? And so we were looking at places. She's like, you want to go to Portland, Maine? I was like, Portland, Maine in December? I was like, I can't imagine a worse week to go to Portland, Maine.
I don't know. Portland's kind of, it's a cool town. Beck has relatives. My wife has relatives that live in Portland, and I don't know. It's a cool town.
It's like 15 degrees.
It's not typically that cold. It's closer to the coast than you think. It's not like northern Maine. Like northern Maine in the middle of December is freaking cold. Southern Maine, it's not. It's all right.
I think we're gonna go to DC instead. Which is
Oh yeah, great. There you go. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll get to go to this one. And I've never been to DC. She's been to DC. She likes it.
Really?
Yeah. I've never been.
You've never been to DC?
Never. Somehow.
Wow.
I know. Out of all the places I've been, that's not one.
I'm honestly stunned, Chad. I'm not feigning that. I thought at some point you probably would have ended up there, but I do know some people that haven't. I was fortunate enough to live there for a year when I was in like first grade, so became familiar and made friends in the area at that point, and that makes it easier to go back and visit people. So, wow, that guy in the mask is impressive.
Want cold? Try tuk to yuk. Hold on, I need to look up where this is.
Yeah.
Tuk to yuk.
Yeah.
Tuk to yuk.
Eric Celiax for $5. Fun fact about Columbus, Indiana: it's an hour away from IU, so the Ohio State game has some extra special spice to them because we're a similar sized town. There you go. Always nice.
It is not even a town. It is a hamlet in Canada next to a tourist attraction called the End of the Road.
Yes.
Oh God, that is north.
Which is literal.
That's literally the end of the road.
Oh.
That's literally as far north as you could possibly go.
Oh man, Russ almost threw a backbreaker right here. Okay, so he's in the grasp. Like, Tomlinson gets a hold of him, and he whips it up, and it goes off the fingertips of a Browns linebacker.
That snow is really coming down.
It's starting to thicken up. Those flakes have gotten fat. Oh, yeah. I don't know. This has just got me, like, this is just the seasonal, like, all the little recesses of my brain are being triggered right now.
This is the exact reason why I don't want them to build a dome stadium. Like,
yeah,
how could you not love this?
How can you not be romantic about football? Come
Absolutely.
On, folks. Snow falling in Cleveland.
You have giant, drunk, shirtless men wearing pasties. Like, you'll never get this in a dome.
Romantic, but I don't know. You can, whatever. Again, whatever floats your boat, cool with that. It's not a problem. I'm just saying, for me, it's the snow falling on a natural grass field. Oh, here it is.
Van Jefferson sighting.
Open.
We got a Van Jefferson sighting in 2024.
Right, but so the Browns gamble on this, right? They say there's a hole in the defense, and he has to hit it. It's not the receiver he likes, and it's snowing like crazy. And Emerson turns the wrong way. He goes for the middle receiver.
Dude, the NFL film shots of this game are going to be so beautiful.
I fully agree. And as an art major that ended up in a film/art major that ended up in football, you couldn't be happier about it. Oh, great play against the run.
Well, you know who's producing the AFC North Hard Knocks, right?
I do.
Our friend.
I do. And I deeply love Mr. Cordova.
So he's going to get to work with all this footage that I just know is going to be gorgeous.
You might be romantic about large shirtless men in the snow and pasties. I'm romantic about the work that Andrew does with football and making beautiful football shots because, yeah.
Dude, this is like damn near blizzard Look at that.
Yeah, this is starting to be prime. If you can see it that much on the field shot, not the light shot. The light shot looks like a, swirling nightmare. The field shot looks quite seasonal.
Ooh,
Russ
Russ
escapes. Oh, he
almost
doesn't
got
quite make it.
that. He's like a
Yeah.
foot short.
Yeah. So it seems to be a theme with Pittsburgh ball carriers tonight. Just about a yard short.
Eric Celiax for $5. Fun fact about Columbus, Indiana: it's an hour away from IU, so the Ohio State game has some extra special spice to them because we are a similar size town.
Yes,
that's right. I forgot Indiana, Ohio State's this week.
Yeah, that's right. Eric got great value for his super chat because of Brett's ADD. I read that one earlier.
Oh. Well, I don't pay attention to anything you say.
Exactly. I'm sure Eric's thrilled. He's like, hey, it's a twofer. They missed the last 5. Oh, man. Browns defense is like, yeah, run it through the middle again. I feel like we're going to get a Kirk Cousins shout out here. You like that? You like that? Keep running it. Oh, now this is great. It's starting to stick to the headsets because it's blowing and it's slightly wet and big flakes. Oh, here comes Boswell. What do you think now? I'm not even sure he can see it.
Dude, if Boswell makes this in the snow, they should just give him double points to make up for the other one.
I fully agree. Fully agree. Rule of cool.
The field goal percentage is 84%. No, dude, not in this. It's not.
See, there's your difference between analytics and film.
Uh-huh.
Analytics says, yeah, he's got a great shot at this. Film says,
84 my ass.
Buddy, have you seen what's going on here? This is great. I love this. And I'm super thrilled that almost 550 of you are hanging out watching this with us because this is just fun. Like, we love this stuff. This is just fun.
Matthew, right? That crazy edit of Caleb in Hard Knocks was insane. I think Andrew did that one.
He was involved with that. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a team of people because the edit was so involved, but the creative force of like, hey, we should push it. We should try and do this. And then they kind of, much like us in the summer series 2 years ago, got into it and went, oh, wait, that means we have to. Wow. All right. That's a lot of work. And they did it. And it was truly groundbreaking stuff. It was awesome. It's
really, a lot of After Effects.
Yeah.
Oh, Russ, you got time. Man, you got crushed, but still got it out. All right.
Oh, and Freiermuth is so much his safety blanket. Pickens is the big play guy, but Freiermuth is who he finds. If he does find somebody later in the play, it's Freiermuth.
We just hit our Freiermuth over.
Okay. From the initial one or the second one?
The second one. Well, both, actually, but...
Oh!
Yeah, you got crushed. What should the Jaguars do in the offseason? Rethink their new logo. I hate that font. It's terrible. Oh, you mean the football team?
That's great. I love that answer.
Dude,
all right,
this
is so cool. I fully agree. But this is so cool. Like, it's snowing so much that, like, the Pittsburgh players are almost getting camouflaged in white jerseys. Like, their top halves are disappearing. This is awesome. So
this is great.
Cleveland, as you know, by the lake effect snow, picks up a whole lot of moisture. You can get serious accumulations pretty quickly. This is what that looks like when it turns on.
Yeah. Oh my God, the field is just covered in like.
Oh yeah, instantly.
Two drives. Like, it's just covered.
Oh! All of a sudden, it was. Oh!
Oh my God!
And he caught it. Oh, and then he got crushed.
This is why they're just not going to call that many pass plays because they can't.
But it's pretty. Nothing like gets a defensive player's heart rate going like seeing the snap skip like that. They're like, oh, get him.
Yule Young for $2. Short weeks after both Ravens games is evil work. Yeah, it wasn't super fair. But at the same time, clearly the league guessed correctly by giving the Steelers all these damn primetime games. Because
the shots
good.
The shots from tonight of Tomlin with snow all stuck to his face are going when he goes in the hall.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You will see shots from this game when Tomlin gets all his post-career awards. Like, heck yeah.
I would give anything to be a sideline photographer for this game. Literally anything.
I know you, so I know you're not kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I would do
No, I know
anything.
you're dead serious. Like your wife is like hiding your wallet right now. She's like, no.
Roger, if you see this, I'm yours, bud. Just tell me what to do. And put me on the sidelines for a snow game.
Roger, take the wheel. Is that what we're doing here? Oh, this is great.
I'm not even sure if he made that, by the way. They say he did. I couldn't see the ball. So I'm just going to assume they're
confirm
correct.
or deny that field goal was made or missed. We're just going to move on. Assume.
Cass says, can we just Army Navy it with Fields, please? Yes. Oh, man. God, I love this game. This is awesome.
I'm going to say that the football degenerates are going to be quite sad that they skipped out on the stream. They're like, I don't think that game's going to be that good. And tomorrow they're going to wake up and watch the replay and be like, damn it.
Dude, it reminds me of you remember that Buffalo snow game with Shady? Prancing through the snow. It reminds me of that. Right.
Yeah. It was like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of weather at the beginning of the game. Like, oh, it's slick. It might be a little bit of it's like drizzle or sleet. Can't really tell. There's a little bit, like all the sideline reporters are in their waterproof stuff. And you're like, okay, cool. And now it's like full on like, hey, shirtless guy, are you hypothermic? Like,
yeah, now it's like sir, we need you to not die here. Please put on clothes. Thank you.
We've gone from, oh, it could be fun, might affect a little bit of the, ball handling, whatever, to like, holy crap, I can't see whether or not that field goal went through, which is way more fun.
Oh, that's right. Shady had 2 snow games. He did the Eagles-Lions one too. You're right. Forgot about that. That was like 2016.
This game's going to finish 12-5. Yes, Juan, it might, and it will be glorious. It will be a glorious 12-5.
Roger, this might be our chance to get Brett to have EJ go shirtless, let him on the sideline.
Wait, you don't get to sacrifice other people for your wishes.
That was not an established rule.
I get to be a sideline if you run him over. Like, wait, what? An innocent bystander. Oh.
2013 for Eagles Shady. Okay. Oh, that's right. The Ravens-Vikings game where there was like 30 points scored in the last 5 minutes was in that season.
Oh, dude, look at this. This is dope.
This is great.
It is pouring.
The Steelers legitimately have an advantage being in white here.
It's going to be harder to see them for sure.
Like, Jameis, who's not exactly known for having great vision.
Well, since he got his eyes fixed, to be fair.
But dude.
Have you seen that LASIK is legit offering LASIK to any NFL referee for free?
Oh, it's a great ad campaign.
It's so good. So good. Like, no, we mean it. We'll actually do it.
Jameis is going to have to start throwing with fucking echolocation to make sure he doesn't get picked off here.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Current conditions: snow, temperature 32, feels like 25, wind 20 to 25 miles an hour. Oh boy.
Yep, that's
we're going boot.
Wow.
What action?
We got a Whiteheart sighting. Is it Blake Whiteheart, right? Purdue? Was it Purdue?
Yeah, I want to say Purdue.
All right.
Yeah.
We're just playing a game of guys naming dudes here.
Guys naming dudes. Dude, he tips it to himself in the snow. Come on. It's a great play.
Purdue? Was it Purdue? No, Wake Forest. Ah, the other black
Wake.
uniforms.
Yeah.
Always gets me. Purdue, Wake, Vandy.
Yep. Black and
They're
gold.
same school. Same
The
school.
death of black and gold.
Ryan for $5. If you hired as the GM of the Panthers today, or if you were hired as the GM of the Panthers today, what would be your plan off season towards rebuilding the roster, assuming Tepper stays out? Well, that's a big assumption. Let's just assume they're going to stick with Bryce because there's not really a better option in this class anyway.
True story.
Continue to build the offensive line.
Oh.
And they started out really strong, but they've dipped into being one of the worst pass protecting lines over the last 5 weeks. So I continue to build the offensive line. I draft one more receiver. I like their young guys, but they still need one more to build depth because they're not insulated from injury.
You gonna draft another running back?
Sure, why not? And then spend every other pick on edge rushers. How about that? That would be my plan.
You need a lot of defense. Like, regardless, they need a lot of defense.
Oof. Get it, said. He's just short. Just short. But no, the Panthers defense needs pass rush. Like, I need oxygen. Like, they're desperate for it. So they can't draft too few edge rushers. Like, just keep picking them.
I think Sed's going to end up in the blue tent here getting checked out.
Did he get dropped?
I'm pretty sure it's helmet to helmet. Like, it looked helmet to helmet. I think that might have been Deshaun. Doesn't count as a tackle, just counts as a knock.
Other things I would do in Carolina, I mean, they didn't trade J.C. Horn, so I would extend J.C. Horn at this point. I would look for a future middle linebacker because Shaq is getting up there. So they need to. I mean, shit. Maybe this Buffalo kid that got brought up earlier could be a nice little investment.
You're just throwing darts.
Just throwing darts.
Like, linebacker.
Well, could I interest you in an Abdul Carter who might solve two things at once: edge rusher and inside linebacker?
Yeah, maybe. Depends. Have Vic take a look at him and tell me.
Yeah.
What would you do with him?
Yeah.
Because he was right about Zach Vaughn and nobody else was.
I think.
Did you hear what he said about that?
Who? Fangio?
Vic? Yeah.
Uh-uh.
He said movement patterns. They said, why did you take one look at Zach Vaughn and decide he was your inside linebacker when how he was trying to sell him to you as backup outside linebacker and special teams guy? And you took one look at him and said inside linebacker. And he said movement patterns. First thing out of his mouth.
Well, Vic Fangio is without a doubt the greatest linebacker coach of all time, right? Like, he was the coach of the Dome Patrol in New Orleans when they had all four linebackers were Pro Bowlers.
If somebody like Vic said to me, like, no, you're wrong, he's an inside linebacker, I'm like, okay, do you want him as an inside linebacker? I'm not going to argue with him.
How many coaches do you know sent all four linebackers to the Pro Bowl in 1 year? Twice, because he did it in New Orleans and he did it in San Francisco. Like, he is literally the best linebacker coach ever. So if he says he's an inside linebacker, he's an inside linebacker.
Bing, you got it. No, great Dome Patrol poll too. Like, shout out to Odney, who's probably not watching tonight, but Odney, my friend, the Saints fan, who unfortunately for him lives in Dallas. Big Dome Patrol guy, loves Dome Patrol.
Oh, that's right. The Niners were all pro, not just Pro Bowler. They were all pro as well.
That's not going to be topped again. That's
bonkers. That's a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
Echolocation activated.
Well, you know, they're using all the VR for some teams are using VR for quarterback training pretty extensively. So who knows? Maybe echolocation of the helmets is next.
So if you're watching, I know you're watching the normal broadcast, but at home on the stream, if you're watching the
film into the tent, what do I win?
Well, nothing, because we need him to get one more catch.
No, watch this. Watch this. Oh, yeah. And it was, too.
Oh, yeah. He got buried.
Yeah.
if you're watching the Next Gen Stats broadcast, keep your eye out on the next red zone possession. You're talking about using VRs for quarterback training and everything like that.
Mhm.
I have it on good authority that the Next Gen Stats broadcast has a very special new tool that they're potentially going to be debuting in the red zone in this second half that is very, very cool. Now, the snow may or may not complicate things, so I'm not sure, but they have a very interesting tool that uses machine learning that could very easily also change quarterback development if applied in that way. So I'm excited to see if they use it. But I got sent a preview of it and was like, oh my God, this is insane.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for those of you following along, Jaden Daniels rookie season, he used some of the early VR stuff at LSU, which was one of the things he credits with his jump between his last 2 years at LSU. And the second one was obviously quite a bit better than the first one. People said, hey, well, how did that happen? Like, what changed? The time spent using VR sims was one of the things that he credited, and he has, as a result, continued to use that technology or brought it with him, or maybe the Commanders already had it, but he is an ardent supporter of said tech because of its effect on his career already and still using it. So when you look at like, oh, which rookie quarterbacks are coming out of the gate really hot? Oh,
Echolocation, baby.
Njoku. Apparently, he has a large radar reflector on the front of his helmet because
fuck it, that blurs down there somewhere.
oh, he's wide open, dude. Look at this. Yeah.
Is this game going to be over by 7:45? It might be. It might be, man. They want to get out of here.
Yeah. Keep running the ball. No timeouts. It's illegal. Oh boy, the runs through the middle kind of look the same for both teams. There were those early breakdowns, and again, it was like, ooh, hey, do you want to grab those rushing yards for the second half? And I was like, I don't think that's gonna last. Couple of veteran defensive coordinators here, like, Tillman's off the field. That sucks.
Yeah,
he got ear hold.
Well, I hope he's gonna be okay. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Stephen Bonsignore for $5. If the Ravens drafted Isaiah Simmons and used him correctly and creatively, his whole career would be better or worse than Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, I would say similar but different. Like, he had that kind of potential for sure. And I actually would have felt, if we're just talking about straight pre-draft analysis, I would have felt better about Simmons to hit that ceiling than I would have about Hamilton. I liked both players, but Simmons had crazy talent. And again, if it was properly channeled, I think we would be talking about him in similar terms as an impactor.
I think they would have just put him at linebacker and left him there, but turned him into a really good linebacker.
Yeah, and he would have had bonkers range. I mean, just off the charts range. So, and again, Kyle Hamilton's rookie year didn't look great. It looked okay, but a lot of the limitations from college were still there. And then year two, like, oh my God, like, it's clicked. They figured it out.
They figured out where best to use him, which was
that's right,
as close to the ball as possible, right?
That's right.
And just let him be a disruptive big nickel, right?
Yep.
And then he was
what
great.
we used to call agent of chaos on my old Bears pod. Like, just get him near the line and have him screw shit up. Oh yeah, the Tomlin snow shots. Perfect, just perfect.
If I had to choose, though, I'd still take Kyle Hamilton just because, like, that's a proven product. But I think Simmons could have at least been very good.
Okay, if you're going shirtless at the Browns game, is it extra points or points off if you paint your face?
Extra, for sure.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Oh, he dropped it. That's brutal.
Well, we talked about it. I mean, it's not a bad pass. He should have caught it for sure.
Yeah.
But Come
Wet
on.
gloves, man. Wet gloves.
Snowing like crazy.
Wet gloves.
And he had a bunch of help.
Dane B for $5. A bit of an odd one here. What's a draft pick you hated when the team did it, but it ended up working out in the end?
No, that's a great one. I don't think that's an odd one at all. It's pretty common phenomenon. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of players you don't see the potential, or they just land in a spot where they develop in a way that you didn't anticipate. And again, oop, there it is.
What a run! What a run by Jameis. Let's go.
You know, and look at him. He's fired up. Like it comes down to such a basic level. Like this feels like a high school game and not even like a high school playoff game. Like we're going to try and run it. It's not going to look super pretty. There's going to be some, couple of shot plays, but no like 50-yard touchdowns, just like long seam plays for the most part. A couple sideline shots. It's going to snow. The field's going to be weird. We play these guys every year. They're a pain in our ass. Yeah, our non-running quarterback's gonna run it and dive over backwards. That was his best Saquon Barkley imitation.
Just think of the slow-mo NFL film shot from the corner of the end zone on that run.
What is going on with his helmet?
Who?
Jameis. He's got a thing hanging off the left side of his helmet.
I didn't even see it. Oh, of course Njoku catches that one.
Yeah, to catch a tough one for a 2-point conversion.
To answer your question, though, what's a draft pick you hated when the team did it, but it ended up working out in the end? Can I go with Jordan Love? I think that counts.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I didn't have Jordan Love as a first-round pick, full disclosure. And there were very real issues with him at Utah State. Luckily, he went to a situation where he could sit. But I hated the pick at the time, not just because I thought it was a little bit early based on grade, but also because you had Aaron Rodgers. It didn't seem even though Rodgers had a down year by his standards the year before that, it's nowhere near what we're seeing now. He was not washed, and they needed something that wasn't quarterback to try to take the next step. And I hated that process, but you can't say it didn't work out, right? It's absolutely worked out.
Yeah, the classic. Matt Curran says, pretty sure y'all hated the Herbert pick. We all didn't hate the Herbert pick.
One of us did.
One of us was very upset about it. One of us thought that there was pretty good potential for him to work out as a player. He's been better than I thought he would be. Way better than Brett thought he would be. I'll go one that's I think I'm not going to say hated. But I thought the chances of Josh Allen working out were extremely slim.
I mean, that's fair.
Because it had never happened.
Yeah.
It literally, before Josh, has never happened. Nobody with his pedigree, his accuracy stats, or inaccuracy stats coming out has developed into the player that he is now, which we saw winning a game against the Chiefs last weekend by just absolutely throttling them pretty much, not single-handedly, but game-winning drive for sure, was all Josh, and the game-winning touchdown was all Josh. I'm, again, thrilled that happened, but when my family was like, is Josh Allen going to be good? The day of the draft, I was like, it's possible. He's got a lot of great skills, but he's a lot like what you were saying with Jordan Love. He's really far away. He needs a lot. So his helmet breaks here, I think. Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get him a new one. Because it's the radio, right?
I think
for play calls.
Yeah. So it looks like you're the little paper tag hanging out of your tee.
So did he just dial that up himself for the 2-point try? He might have.
It's possible, but so I didn't hate Josh Allen as a player, but picking him as your next franchise quarterback and saying this is going to work out is ballsy in the extreme. It's an act of hubris to say, yeah, nobody's ever done this, but we're going to do it and then do it to this level. So just playing the percentages, like, I think we're going to see some highlight plays for sure. He's got crazy skills. Is he ever going to be, the super weapon, game changing drive leader that you want him to be? The answer is yeah. Has anybody done it before, coming from where Josh Allen came from, both statistically and in terms of where he played college football? And I'm not scouting the helmet. I'm talking about level of league competition. I'm not saying Wyoming doesn't produce players, because they do. But what they asked him to do was in the extreme. To take him at the top of the draft and say, no, this is our guy, and we're betting he is our franchise quarterback, was they were very sure of themselves. And we've seen lots of people that are that sure of themselves in the draft fail miserably. And Buffalo is literally the only one with that set of circumstances to succeed. So it's amazing, obviously, for them. And they're going to have, and have had, a very good run because of it. But everybody else going, oh, so I should do that? Your chances of success are 0.00 something.
Sometimes it's Trey Lance.
Way more often, like, it's always Trey Lance. Except
here's Justin Fields' big run.
That's right. Look out!
Army Navy activated.
Right, Army Navy mode activated. We already got the radar. Now we just got Army Navy activated. Dude. How perfect is it that a kid from Georgia is making the play in the snow?
Fucking great block from Hayward, too. Oh, my God.
Yep.
2 for 1. Look at that.
Yep. Take the edge. Bloop.
And you get a block, and you get a block, and you get a block.
Justin turns the corner looking for contact, and he's like, dude, there's nobody within like 7 yards of me. What up? There's always somebody right here. Hayward's like, nah, I got him. Oh, they're just going to like wildcat this. Okay.
I mean, would you try to throw in this?
No, but I might make it look like I was thinking about it.
Wait, so Russ ran out and Justin ran out? Are we doing a 2 QB thing here?
Well, we were talking about Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, and Taysom Hill in the same backfield, so they're just working their way towards it slowly.
Okay, Russ came back off. All right.
Yeah. He's like, give me the coat.
He said, we are running.
Give me the coat. Yeah.
Oh, God, Justin.
Oh! He's like, I've seen Russ do this before.
Are we calling RTP? Is that a roughing the passer?
We're
just sacrificing Justin to get 15 yards at a time by having him get obliterated?
Well, unfortunately, he's incredibly used to it, having played the way he did in Chicago. I mean, having been left out to the wolves in Chicago. Let's be honest. Yeah. Oh, and body weight. Come on, you're not calling body weight on that? How can you not call body weight?
No, they did. That's the thing.
Okay. All right.
I'm saying he's sacrificed himself for the cause. But good God.
Yeah, trust me.
What a hit.
I've seen it way too many times. He got massacred in Chicago. Najee banging away. Again, the middle runs for both teams have looked really similar. And that's a credit to both, defensive lines in this game. Dalvin on one side, Hayward on the other, going, you're not doing that. Like, do something else, anything else, but you're not doing that.
All right, 2nd and 8. Let's see what run they call this time.
Connor Gardowski, obviously a Chicago fan. Justin getting a roughing call? Unheard of. Because it's true. He would get helmet-to-helmet shots in Chicago, and they just wouldn't throw a flag.
You drew him off.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
It's going to be 2nd and 3.
Oh, we did. Look at that. The rare Justin Fields roughing the passer call. Yes, indeed. All the Chicago fans in the chat are like, wait, what? You throw a flag
allowed?
on that?
That's allowed? What?
Wait, I thought that it was just common knowledge that you could do that to Justin without any kind of blowback
repercussions,
whatsoever.
anything, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting game management from Tomlin.
Oh man, great play from Russ to find Najee sneaking.
Yeah, just again, get the ball to your playmakers. Trying to get rookie quarterbacks to do that is very difficult. They're always like, no, no, eyes downfield. I'm going to make a play. I'm going to make a play. Yeah, the play is a 2-yard dump to your running back, and then he's going to run 9 yards. Like that's the play. But it's hard to get them to see that sometimes. Russ is obviously well past that and is like, yeah, sure, you could take this and trundle along. My stats will look great.
Steven, for $10, says, time to stop being so nice, guys. Is Daniel Jones the worst player to hold on to a starting job for so long? What
Yes.
other bad players were in starting lineups way too long? I would say DJ
Well,
is probably the worst quarterback to hold on to his job for 6 years.
that many years, yes, especially in the modern era. Like it happened to other franchises for different reasons where they were just holding on former glory kind of a thing, but not for 6 years. That's the thing is there was the one playoff year, but he ran the ball really well and he was effective that way in Dable's offense, but he was never great as a quarterback. Like, you know, there's a lot to playing quarterback, and he played quarterback as if you're looking at the difference between how long he held the spot and how poorly he played on average, yeah, that's probably the biggest gap in the modern era for sure.
As far what other players were in starting lineups way too long?
If it has, do we have to do quarterbacks?
No,
Does
any I would say any
Oh,
position.
okay. Oh, Pickens trying to get into it. Oh, nice, sweet. Took his mouth guard.
Aaron
Pickens
Dobson?
poked. Uh, yeah, but he wasn't in. He didn't play for 6 years, did he?
No, I
Oh,
can't think of anybody
Pittsburgh
else who got
touchdown.
6 years. All right,
Here I go. I've
it's a
been
game.
talking shit about the middle run all night. Middle run with Jalen Warren, and they score and looked fairly easy as well.
God, who's just a really shitty bust that
I'm trying to
somehow.
think of like past their prime folks, like uh Zeke being a starting running back, but it wasn't for 6 years, right? It was the end of the Zeke when people were still
Yeah.
considering the last 2 years of him being a starting running back. Like, dude, he's not producing like a starting running back anymore. But that's only 2 years, right? Not six. It the average, to put this in perspective, the average career length in the NFL is like 3.6 years.
What about like
So
Martellus Bennett?
it's literally like two full careers of not performing very well compared to your peers.
Martellus Bennett, I think, hung on for a long time when he just wasn't the same. Oh, Odell Beckham, that's an interesting one. That's because Odell hasn't been Odell in a long time.
Right. The reputation is much greater than what you've been getting on the field for a while now. So that's a very good pull. Um,
Is it too
I
early
can
to
think
say
of,
Aaron Rodgers? Well, it's only been a year of like abject trash, right?
yeah, I think it probably is. Especially with what came before, but because Daniel Jones never reached any such heights, let's put it that way. Um, No,
Oh,
mostly I'm thinking about guys wearing down or injury just completely robbing guys from, early career to like mid-career, and then everybody just kind of waiting for them to be the thing again, and it never worked out. But even so, that's usually like 3 seasons or 4 seasons with two or three teams.
it's never six.
It's not six.
Yeah. DJ is just a weird case where they
Yeah.
they already gave up on him, and then he had like the 1 year that made them think, well, maybe, right? And then it bought him 2 more years, but like they had already
Yeah.
given up on him before 2022, and then he came out in 2022 in Dable's first year and just randomly had a decent year.
Oh, there's a good pull from chat. Ted says, "Ooh, wait, Robert Gallery."
Good pull.
he he kicked around a long time. That's a great pull. And never really got there. Like
Yeah.
there was certainly a lot of draft buzz, was very highly regarded, blah blah blah. Came in, was like had a little bit of averageness, and then was like abjectly not good for a long time, but getting kept getting shots.
Eli Apple's a good pull. That's a really good pull.
I yeah. Um,
Or
There
Artie
are certain,
Burns, maybe. Like,
yeah, well, Corn Elder to a much lesser extent.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, at a high level to be, there's so much focus. It's crazy that it happened in New York as well.
Hmm.
Like the ultimate media crucible in terms of like it being hard to survive, even if you're just average. And Daniel Jones has been well below average for a lot of that. I think a lot of people wanted to like him, but after like a couple of years, like Brett said, that ran out. They were already like, this is the future. And then, Dable comes in and he has, uh, you know, one good year, but again, it was largely based on his rushing prowess, not his throwing prowess, which is a weird thing to judge a quarterback on. And if you don't, one without the other is not something that would typically make you extend somebody for big money. And they did. And at that point, it was like, what are you doing? And that literally financially has made it so the organization couldn't move on for the next 2 years, thereby sort of cementing this 5-6 year stretch where it never looked great. And he just inexplicably sort of stayed in the top spot in the toughest media market in the country in one of the most high profile positions in sports. It's weird. Like 25 years from now, it's going to be very difficult to explain that to anybody.
Mark in the chat said Bobby Hart, and I just got irrationally angry again. So thank you for saying his name. God, he's just
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Um uh yeah. I'm just gonna go with yeah. Oh man. And Daniel Jones. Okay, this is a super chat from Michael Horn for 4.99. Thank you, Michael. Can Daniel Jones find a niche role in a Greg Roman offense on run plays? Maybe I'm too zoinked on melatonin, but I like the creative potential. I like the creative potential as well. We were talking about him in the Saints run game earlier in the pod or the live stream. Oh, Brett forgot to mute himself. This is little care for the chat. Yes, we heard the plans for little care.
Oh, was I not muted?
Nope.
Oh,
But that's okay. The chat knows little. Everybody's cool with it.
whoops.
Ah, everybody's cool with it. I'm glad it was little care and not something else. Um, Brett, take more phone calls.
Oh, I was muted for chat, but I wasn't muted for EJ. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife wanted to know
Anyway.
if I'd fed him yet, which I have not.
That's all right. I'm very happy that the nephew is being well taken care of. Little's a good dude. Muted for stream. Am I doxing Brett? Not really. I mean, he does plenty of that himself.
Yeah. All right.
All right. What's Russ gonna do?
Oh,
He's going deep.
he's gonna throw.
Oh no.
6 yards left.
I wonder which way the wind's blowing in that end zone. I really do. Because after watching that kick earlier in the game, it looks like the snow's going that way, as a matter of fact. I can't really tell from that shot. The other shot, it looked like it was definitely blowing behind him. That's one thing about ye old moonball. When everybody's talking about falling in love with the moonball, when you hear GMs and talent evaluators talking about quarterback prospects, especially if they work for teams that play outdoors, they talk about a ball that cuts through the wind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a strong enough arm to cut through the wind? And that is a couple of things. It's not only arm strength, it's how they throw it. And do they throw a very tight spiral because any wobble in the ball is going to pick up extra air resistance and get blown around? And when you get a 20 to 25 mile an hour wind and it's going across the field, it's kind of like golfers at Kapalua in the early season, right? They're starting it out 20 degrees right and it's working its way back into the fairway. When you're throwing a ball the way Russ does up in the air, it's up there a long time and it has a lot of exposure. The higher it goes, the farther it's going to drift. And
beautiful ball. See, he threw that one a lot flatter.
Yeah, he learned his lesson. Wow.
Have a night,
Oh,
Calvin Austin.
yeah. Have a night, Calvin Austin. Have a game Thursday night football stream. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Come on. It's snowing. We've got a game in the fourth quarter. Like, Russ is ripping middle seam. That was a middle of the field throw from Russ. Like,
that is the
what are we doing here?
second nod seam that Calvin's hit tonight on a safety.
And
Beautiful
we always
ball.
talk. I know, it's perfect. And we always talk about Russ's inability to see and throw to the middle of the field. He just absolutely laced that thing. Unreal. All right. They're going to go for 2 to try and make it a field goal difference. Let's see. Kicking game's got to be an adventure. So they're just like, screw it. We're not going to do it.
Little's being ornery about eating right now, and the only way he's willing to eat is Nikki holding him in her lap and hand feeding him.
He knows what's up.
He's a fucking princess.
That's right. He knows what's up. He's like, I can get mom to pay attention to me right now. Watch this.
Oh, man. All right.
You're
Didn't
gonna
get the
have to
2
hold
points,
me.
so it's only 19-18, but Steelers will take that.
And again, are you going to try the kick in this weather? You might as well go for 2.
You might
I mean,
as well.
I don't care. I don't care what the score sheet says, right? It's like, oh, should we go for 2? You look up at the weather and go, yeah, we're probably just going to go for 2. Screw it.
Dane for $2. Is safety DJ's second best position? I was thinking running back. I would say,
The classic is tight end.
I think he could be a sneaky punt returner. He's shifty.
Yeah, I honestly think he'd be a really good. I don't know how good his hands are, quite frankly, in terms of catching, but I think he'd be a really good RB2. Again, with one notable, like, how would we know? Can he block? Like, can he block a charging linebacker? Because
Probably
he
not.
can't. Well, I mean, he hasn't had to since probably what, grade school?
Yeah.
Like, if then, he was probably, I mean, my guess is he was probably a running back at some point, because in youth football, the most talented athlete usually ends up at running back because they get their hands on the ball most. And then by the time you get to like junior high, you're probably the quarterback. So he hasn't had to like straight up block anybody in a bit.
Or tackle anybody ever. So,
Yeah.
probably not a great safety.
Probably not putting him in safety, but I love his skills at running back because he is a very talented runner of the football. He's got great size, and he's shown willingness to take contact as a runner. That's all really necessary stuff. A lot of people are like, oh, he's fast and he plays well in space. Well, you can't always play in space in the NFL. He knows that. He's taken a ton of contact running the ball for the Giants. But you got to be able to do blitz pickup, and he knows that as well as anybody, being a quarterback. And if you can't do that, or you're not willing to, you need both, then he's not a functional running back in the NFL, because you can't put him out there if he can't pass pro. Like, that's, yeah.
Speaking
That's
of
when you
Michael
make him a
Horn,
move tight end.
Michael Horn says for $5, can Daniel Jones find a niche role in a Greg Roman offense on run plays? Maybe I'm too zoinked on melatonin, but I like the creative potential. Yeah, you put him at running back in a Greg Roman offense. Or even if you put him as like a running quarterback in a Greg Roman offense as like a package player, so we don't need to make Justin do it. And he's like the Justin Fields for the Chargers, like the Steelers Justin Fields for the Chargers. Yeah, why not? Package player. Sure. You want to run QB power with it so Justin doesn't get hurt? Oh, he muffed it.
Well, not surprising.
Got it back and got tattooed.
Yeah.
32. Ref bump for $5. How did Donovan McNabb and Tim Couch's careers look if you switched them in the draft? When you put Tim Couch with Andy Reid?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is better and worse. And not probably, I don't think Tim Couch would have ever been as good as McNabb. And I'm not sure that McNabb was ever going to be as bad as Tim Couch, but absolutely better and worse. Like, situation matters a lot. Is Couch semi-functional if he plays for Reed? Probably is. Is he Donovan McNabb? I don't think he ever is. I just don't think he's that guy. Does Donovan McNabb get bemoaned as a quarterback that could have been, that never worked out because he went to Cleveland? Probably. Again, does he get a shot later? Is he like a Sam, an earlier version of Sam Darnold, right? Who gets like maligned early in his career and then goes somewhere else and everybody's like, damn, he can play. Probably.
Yeah.
Right. But does that add up to what he had as a career under Reed? Absolutely not. So, Tim Couch, better. Donovan McNabb, worse. As much as where they were drafted, probably not for either one, up or down, but absolutely better and worse.
All right, Jameis in absolute blinding snow.
This isn't Jameis. Is it? Or is that his backup?
Oh, no, 17. Is that DTR?
Yeah, I'm thinking it is.
What happened to Jameis? Or are they just all putting in mobile quarterbacks and running the ball because they can't do anything else?
Like, oh, yeah? You got one of those? We got one of those, too.
Oh, that's great. I think whoever said Army Navy, I think you're right, because that's about what we're doing.
Yeah, right. There's too much snow for the radar at this point. We're getting too much feedback from the large flakes of snow.
All right, Jameis
yes,
is back in.
I know that's not a thing.
We immediately got timeout.
Whee!
Papa Starch for $5. Thank you, Papa. Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer. I'll say yes, but he's like a classic guy that's going to go to like the veteran or they call it veteran committee, old timer, the one where senior committee,
seniors,
right? Takes a while.
Candidates. Yeah.
He'll definitely
takes a while.
He'll definitely be, honored with the Chargers. Or already, I don't think he already has been, but he will be, I assume. Hall of Fame, though, it'll take him a while, but he'll be in eventually. Look at Jameis, man.
Oh, to Judy? Really?
Hell of a throw, too.
How are we having Jameis is crawling?
He's up.
Yep.
He's up.
Yeah, he's up. He's limping like crazy. How is it that this game of all games is the Jerry Judy game?
I don't know, man.
Football is a funny sport.
You give Jerry Judy perfect weather, and we get nothing. Put him in a blizzard, and fucking Calvin Johnson. I don't get it.
Yeah, against a hard hitting. Oh, Jameis got his leg twisted up on a coach that fell over.
Yeah, somebody fell on him.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does it look like the Browns wide receivers' legs below the knee are disappearing?
God, they got the
all white socks, and I was like, wait, is he? He's not legless. All right, this is a reference for all 5 people in the chat who saw The Losers. Legless Pooch.
I have not seen The Losers, unfortunately.
Oh my God, such a good movie. If you haven't seen The Losers, go see it. If you got some extra time at the holidays, rent The Losers. Just know that it's just a fun film. We're not talking about Oscars here. It's just a fun film.
Oh, Jameis almost threw another one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Again, these white jerseys. You can't see them.
You can't see them. And the radar's not working in the snow.
Radar's down.
The radar's down. We're in trouble. Beanie Bishop sighting. God, speaking of a rookie that's had a great season, all the Steelers fans out there, Beanie Bishop. You've all heard him. We haven't said his name enough. We've said his name once or twice on the podcast. Deserves more praise for what he's doing in Pittsburgh this year.
Have y'all heard, Sean French for $10, have y'all heard of playback for streaming? Playback in what context? Is that like a company? Playback? Oh my God, he threw one.
Oh, right to him too.
Right to him. Jameis,
right
no.
No, Jameis, yes. This is what you get with Jameis. We said it at the top. You said it actually at the top. Russ is going to take a few high leverage shots, but he is not going to put the ball in harm's way. His turnover worthy play percentage very small, and the Steelers need it to be so. I said later on that again, he had a bad fumble, which is kind of the same thing, just shorter duration. But the Steelers can afford like one of those in their game plan. Tomlin has always preached ball security and smart play where you're not putting yourself behind the 8 ball, penalties, or anything else. That's what you need to work the way they've been doing it. Jameis, on the other hand, Jameis is, and I think always will be what Jameis is. It might be, better touchdowns, less interceptions, but it's never going to be a very small number of turnover worthy throws. He has always thrown them, and he is just probably always going to throw them. Might be less, but he's never not going to put the ball in harm's way. At some point, he's going to, and he did. And Steelers, credit to them, it's hard enough to catch a ball in this weather. They pay it off. Classic trope about, if he could catch, he'd be playing on offense. Yeah, we'll add snow to that. And they still made the catch. So
I just Googled it, and apparently Playback is a streaming site specifically for sports games.
Oh?
As in, like, you stream on Playback to simultaneously watch sports with whoever's watching you watch the game. So basically, I think it's for this, essentially. But I don't know how it interacts with the YouTube channel, so I'd have to look that up.
So the answer is no. We're learning.
We're learning. Yeah, to answer your question, we have not heard of it, but I will look at it. Does it work with YouTube, or is it its own site and we have to go onto that site, which is a whole, obviously different bag of bones.
Whole new thing.
Steven, how do y'all feel about the crucial 2-point conversion fades to Cordero Patterson? I'll tell you what, there's like 7 different things you can do with Cordero Patterson on a football field, and throwing goal line fades is not the one that I would choose.
In the snow.
In the snow. So not a huge fan.
Yeah, looked like Jameis was expecting him to break out, and he broke in. And it was a duck of the highest order. Whew.
You'll learn for $2. Porter to Harrison to Watt, generational LLB run. Wow, the Bud Dupree disrespect. How dare you not mention him?
Bud Dupree took a long time to get going.
But he got there.
He did. I was very high on him coming out in the draft, and I was like, I think I've given up believing. And then he got good, and I was like, aha, I don't feel right saying, see, I told you so at this point. I feel like I did miss, and then something happened. But no, morphed himself into, and again, not many, we were having the discussion earlier, like who's continued to play despite not, putting up numbers or living up to the hype. Oh, Justin's back in the game. And they, I think, exercised more patience with Bud Dupree than many teams would have, and it paid off.
Twitch airs Thursday night games live. I don't know how YouTube views it, but if streamed on Twitch, it's fine to watch along. My question for you is, are we allowed to show the game if it's streamed on Twitch? Because that's a totally different thing, right? Last time I checked, we were not allowed to.
Okay, I'm thinking back to the playoff game between the Dolphins and the Chiefs when Mahomes' helmet broke.
Yeah.
A chunk of Mahomes' helmet came off. It looks like there's a chunk out of the right side of the frame of Jameis's helmet, not where the radio came out. Like, it looks like this side of his helmet right above his face mask is cracked.
Well, in temperatures like this, sometimes these helmets do kind of freeze and crack a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's.
It looks like he lost a chunk of his helmet. So, yeah, that's just odd 2 years in a row.
Seeing the game on Twitch only works for U.S. viewers. I'm gonna text Ethan about it, who works at Twitch, and ask him. He would steer me wrong.
Looks like some paint came off Myles Garrett helmet too. I thought it was snow initially, but I think it's a big chunk of orange paint missing. So we got all kinds of equipment.
Going for it.
Big one. Oh.
George wanted the call, but he pushed off
He
too. They're
wants
not
the
going to
call.
give it to him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny. This is what we're talking about in the open and what we talked about on the podcast this week, that if this doesn't work, if you're one big shot to Pickens per quarter on average, 3 to 4 per game, if a couple of those don't work, and now we've seen 2 where Pickens wanted the call, he didn't get it, but the Steelers didn't get the catch either, like, you're forced to punt. And is that, I don't know what you want to call it, is that arrangement going to work in the playoffs? And I think it's really tenuous, which is why I had them, possibly in the second tier. We had 3 tiers. We had a Super Bowl tier, a conference championship tier, and a divisional round tier. And I put them in the conference championship tier because they just play tough, smart football, and I think they can get through on a lot of that. But they're not going to get any farther than that because maybe if you're in a dome, I guess. I don't know.
I'll just say this: styles make fights. It just depends on the corners they're going up against.
100%.
That's all it is.
And if they get and honestly the officiating crew, because could you see a flag being thrown? I've seen flags thrown for a lot less this year than those 2 routes.
Unfortunately,
look at that right side of his helmet right here.
Steelers just had a 16-yard punt, so
yeah, that didn't look good.
And that's the worst possible time because now the Browns can just run it down, kick a field goal, and if they get on the other side of the 2-minute warning.
I love the just run it down and kick a field goal in this weather. I don't think a 1-yard field goal in this weather.
would you could try.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just our typical end of game calculus has a little swerve in the script, which is I'm not sure any kick is going to be at all a given.
Unless you can force another turnover here.
Ooh.
No, he dropped it again. Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, Akins, his second drop.
Boy.
Brutal. Just
brutal.
That would have almost sealed the game right there.
We say it every week that a lot of football games in the NFL, especially these days, come down to 3 or 4 plays total. That's a couple of plays for each team. Like, you give them a couple of catches, it's a very different ball game. Oh,
okay. So 3rd and 4 from the 39. You don't feel comfortable kicking. So that would be what, a 56
in the wind? No,
not in this.
You can't do that.
Yeah, they're not even thinking about it. They're just going for it.
Yeah, this is
56 isn't even guaranteed in perfect weather.
No, this is bonkers though in terms of a game. I'm loving it.
He got
Come
it.
on, James.
He got it.
Wow. Oh man. Yeah.
See, now Steelers are really in trouble because you can run one play, get to the 2-minute warning, and then you get one more first down, and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, they're in control of this. That was a huge, huge play.
That punt fucked the Steelers. Just fucked them.
You can't have plays like that in a close game.
Hidden yards, man.
Close game. It is a divisional game. Like, the room for error here is very small. We're talking about 2 minutes to go, 1-point game, terrible weather. We talked about at the top that Browns are more spoilers here than contenders, but they definitely would like to spoil the Steelers' chances.
Well, Steelers need this game. They're trying to keep pace in the AFC for a potential 1 seed. If they survived this division game stretch and got all the way to KC and beat KC, they could have gotten either the 1 or the 2 seed. They dropped this game to the Browns, and they still got to deal with all the other division games. Bengals twice, Ravens another time, Chiefs and Eagles. Like, you can't drop one to the 2-win Browns. in the middle of that stretch, like
Nope.
all of a sudden you're losing a realistic shot at 13-4, 12-5, and all of a sudden you're putting yourself in like an 11-6 potential here, and you're now, instead of fighting for the 1 seed, you're fighting to hold on to the 3 seed. So they can't afford to lose this game.
Yeah, you don't want to drop the ones you should be winning, but saying you should be winning AFC North games has always been a dangerous game.
I know.
Jerry Judy, 5 for 70, a 14-yard average. Nobody else has more than 3 receptions. And Jordan Akins would have had 5 if he didn't have the 2 drops. He's got 3 for 38, but like Elijah Moore, 3 for 21, Jordan Akins, 3 for 38, and Jerry Judy, 5 for 70.
And every single one of his 5 catches were important.
Oh,
every single one.
Just keep showing up. And that is, if you followed Jerry Judy's pro career, that is the opposite. He shows up once or twice per game. If that, there's some games he doesn't show up at all. It's been, again, I don't want to say inexplicable. I would have, if you would have asked me what the probability of Jerry Judy being the leading receiver tonight was, I would have said not astronomically low, but pretty darn
low. Yeah.
And then if you told me that it was going to be a crappy weather game where there was snow buildup on the field, it was wet, there was wind, and then you said Jerry Judy was going to be the leading receiver, I would have been like, yeah, no. Are we talking about the same guy? Like, not happening. And sure enough, that's why football's fun. Because he absolutely is and absolutely has been. And to your point, they all mattered. It's not just like, oh, he got 5 catches in the fourth quarter when they were down by 3 scores. And, the stats look really good. Like, they've been impactful receptions.
You want to hear a fun stat for this game?
Sort of.
Browns are 0 for 9 on 3rd down, 4 for 4 on 4th down. Amazing.
It's like Shane Waldron, except 2 downs later. Oh, we're switching shoes for the kicker? Oh, boy. Is that what we're doing right now? I want that other shoe for my plant foot. Okay. This is a game that a lot of Cleveland fans are probably going to lie about being at.
Yeah. Where were you with that?
Snow.
Oh, Jameis! Oh!
Gah.
All right. So they're forcing the field goal. They're going to have a minute 55 with 2 touchdowns. The Steelers are not out of this.
No.
Oh, are you calling roughing the passer right now? No way. That would end the game, basically.
Yeah, don't let your kids grow up to be NFL officials. It's not easy. No, they're thinking about whether or not he's out of the tackle box.
Oh, they're thinking about calling a hold
receiver
as well.
What a mess. And I'm not talking about the field.
Wait, why are we throwing a flag if we don't know what the call is?
No, they're getting together to discuss. I think there might be multiples. You're talking about a hold. You're talking about a possibility of grounding, right?
Oh, grounding would be massive because the field goal distance.
Well, right. But look at, he wasn't out of the tackle box. That's the lines they were putting on the field. And was there a receiver there?
Oh, is illegal touching? Did a lineman touch it?
It hit a lineman, I think.
That's an interesting way to get an illegal touch penalty, right? A throwaway under pressure that hits a lineman. Oh yeah, it did. How about that?
Oh yeah, no, in the hands. Okay, I'll give him that. Like non-eligible.
That's one way to get that.
Yeah, you did not report center as eligible. Oh boy. And Tomlin's like, what the hell was that?
Did Tomlin decline
got
it?
ice in the beard. He's looking like a polar explorer at this point. He's like, all right, let's go. This is one of the more fierce weather games I've seen in the NFL of late. Like, there's games where it snows, there's games where it's really cold. That KC game was brutally cold.
Yeah.
That was incredibly fierce weather. But this is like mucky, icy, windy. Like, this is not fun weather to play football in. It's fun weather to watch football in. But if you're warm at home, somebody asked earlier, should I fire up the fireplace to be cozy, or does that kill the snow game ambiance? Absolutely not. I think it adds to the snow game ambiance.
So it looks like they decided to actually accept it after all, so it's going to be a replay of 3rd down. So instead of 4th and 2, it's going to be 3rd and 7. Let's see what we got here. Now, the fact that the Browns were lined up to go for it on 4th and 2 from the 25 means that they're not even confident in their ability right now to make a 40-yarder. Not that I blame them.
No, I was going to say, let's just ask chat. Chat, put the length of a field goal you would be comfortable with in these conditions in the chat. Like, what's the farthest you would say, yeah, I think that's a good idea in these conditions? Now, look at the screen before you type it in, because we got icy buildup, sleet, wind, crappy field conditions.
I would say like 25. Like, get me to the 7-yard line and I'll feel good about it. So it's like, what, less than an extra point?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm not even sure about extra points in this weather.
Got it. Got it again. How about that? Jerry Judy.
Mr. Clutch. I'm sorry. You can't refer to him as Jerry Judy anymore. It's Mr. Clutch to you.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. Yes, I like that nickname. Although I'm not sure. This is ridiculous. In the best possible way, if you're a Cleveland fan, by the way.
All right, we got to send Jerry Judy to the CFL. He's going to be the greatest Canadian of all time.
I think you're correct. I think give him a little snow and he's banging Beanie Bishop up. Flag.
He's what?
He just did.
Pause.
Come on.
Nice to meet you. The snow must be softening up those hands of stone.
That's a heck of an explanation. I'm with you, though. I think he is the greatest CFL legend in the making. He just has to go, oh, speaking of legends.
Honestly, they should have let him score. They need time now. They don't need yards.
If you're Pittsburgh, if it's going to happen anyways, you don't want it to happen a minute from now.
Honestly, like I would call timeout there too.
Yeah, one or the other. Like
do something.
Got to get the clock to stop somehow. Like, let them score or call timeout, but don't just let it tick away.
Yeah, let him in. All right. They wasted like 40 seconds by not just letting him in the first time.
Yeah.
So if I'm them, I'm going for 2 to try to make it a 7-point game just in case. Plus, you don't want to kick it anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, as opposed to, as chat said, 5-yard field goals, which you can't do. Oh. And again, it's Nick Chubb. Like, Nick Chubb in Cleveland.
Against the team he got hurt against. It's poetic for so many reasons.
This is great. I realize if you're a Steelers fan, this is not great. I get it. But talking about the Nick Chubb storyline, it's pretty darn cool.
Flag.
Flag. You just
False
nod at
start.
this point. Flag.
Oh,
So
false start.
somebody,
So you're gonna have to kick it.
so whoever said, "Is this game going to be over by 7:30?" This is your fault. You always say when we say stuff and the other thing happens that it's our fault. This is your fault. Like this could not be a slower final 4 minutes than what we're experiencing and are witnessing. So it must be your fault. That's your curse to bear.
Fade for $2. What a pleasant surprise of a game. Super fun. Yeah, this has been one of the more fun TNF games we've had this year.
Yeah,
At least top
the
three.
fact that we have more people watching than the last time I looked down in the middle of the third quarter by a fair amount is credit to, yeah, this is fun football to watch. Again, not fun if you're out there and your fingers are frozen and you're getting smacked around, but this is a fun football game to watch. Oh,
Yeah, they're going to keep that flag in the pocket. All right, so you're
yeah,
going to have 57 seconds, one timeout. You just need to get a touchdown, but you don't need to make an extra point. You don't need to get a 2-point conversion. You just have to get a touchdown. He says facetiously.
Just. Yeah, he just need to get a touchdown. The other thing is, and it's obvious to everybody, this is the Captain Obvious statement of the evening. Nothing happens faster in the snow. If you're talking about like, oh, well, they've got, 17 seconds left and they can do this and another play. And like on turf in a dome when it's 68 degrees, maybe. Like a play that normally takes 3 seconds might take 5 or 7 seconds in this. Like you're not getting as many opportunities. It's just harder to accelerate in this stuff and get everybody reset and have everybody hustle down the field and spot the ball and do all the other stuff. Like it's just going to take a little bit longer.
Gatti and Leroy for $2. Thank you, Gatti. We only need AFC North football on TNF. Yeah, just give us a rotating cast of AFC North games for the rest of the year. I'll be happy.
They're always good and they rarely work out like you think they're going to. Like if there's going to be a twist, an AFC North game's going to feature it because it's the reason we say this division, beats the hell out of each other every year because they're just not normal. They can't play normal football games against each other. Like whatever we research, one of these weeks, I'm just going to throw my hands up for an AFC North game and go, doesn't matter what I say. I'm just going to do whatever the hell they want. I'm just going to watch it and have fun.
Yeah, analyzing is pointless.
Yeah, that's kind of the reality.
Do you squib this?
I mean, handling it's not going to be fun no matter what. We've already seen like a traditional kind of straight up kick, like essentially fumbled, muffed. It was recovered, but this is just a mess. He's kicking it into the wind. I think he had to blast that thing to get it into the landing zone.
All right, got out to the 35.
Got a tackle. They do a job of that.
50 seconds to go 65 yards with a timeout. It's not impossible, but in the snow, it's pretty darn near impossible. Can you squib? Well, when I say squib, I don't mean you hit it short of the landing zone, but I mean you try to hit it like at the front of the landing zone to make them field it in the snow, right? It's tough to do, but
big hat, good call tonight. The guy wearing the big hat in the stands. That was appropriate headwear for this evening's game.
I think the kids call it a scum kick after the Madden strat.
There you go.
All right,
get up. Firemouth on the loose.
Get up. Gotta go.
Got himself first down. And yes, that is a large chunk of paint missing off Myles Garrett's helmet.
Yeah, 23 seconds. I don't know if I have time for this. Them not letting Chubb score was the worst possible play they could have made.
Well, they've had the fumble, which I'm not really going to count because it's just that used up their freebie, Russell Wilson fumble. But after that, they had the punt, which was 16-yard punt. Like that put them in a bad position to get them going. They get down to the goal line. They don't A, let Chubb score, or B, call a timeout, one or the other. They burn almost 40 seconds and they're going to score anyways. So you're starting to add
Get out of
mistakes.
bounds. All right, now you got to timeout. There you go.
So you're starting to stack mistakes here that you might not be able to overcome. At this point, it's going to take a heck of an effort. I mean, is it possible? Sure, it's possible. Okay, that's a look right there.
Yeah, sleeveless.
I'm all about that. Sleeveless, ski cap, goggles, chain. Like, yeah, let's do it. That guy came prepared. He understood. Russ is like, I can't read this through the snow. Like, they gave me the number, but I can't read this through the snow. What does this say? Everybody's like, I don't know. I think that's. Yeah, look at that. Garrett's helmet. He didn't lose a chunk of the plastic like Mahomes did, but he definitely lost a chunk of the paint. You can tell which way the wind's blowing, too, because all the snow's built up on one side of the Steelers coaches.
What you got? Yeah, we're gonna get a Hail Mary here.
You're gonna get a Hail something.
Like you got one speed out to get you closer, and then it's Hail Mary time.
All right, chat. What would you if this Hail Mary gets immortalized, what would you coin it? Because we've had the Hail Mary. Like, what would be the nickname for this Hail Mary try?
That's a good one. And we got timeout. Okay.
The Snow Mary, the snowball.
The Hail Flurry. Let's go. That's
Hail
good.
Flurry, I like. Yeah, Hail Flurry is the early leader in the clubhouse for sure. The Snow Angel, I like Snow Angel. That's pretty good too. Snow Mary.
The frozen rope. Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, he throws moon balls, so he's going to have to gun another seam ball. He did gun one for a touchdown in this game, which, again, he learned from the previous throw, which was like, man, I can't put it up that high. It's going to drift like 4 yards, because I really do think Pickens ran the right route and ended up looking back over his head as that ball like erected with the breeze.
Snow Way.
Oh, I like Snow Way. Okay. Hail Flurry, Snow Way, and Snow Angel are my favorites. The Frozen Moon. Oh, if he throws a moon ball, for sure, I'm all about it.
The Miracle Moon on Slush.
Yes. I like the Miracle on Slush.
Especially because Al called it. Al called the actual Miracle on Ice.
Yeah. Good throwback. I like it. The Allen Blizzard. Only if it was in this game. Hail Frosty. Hail Flurry. I like Hail Flurry. The Hail Moon. I like Frozen Moon better, I think. Lake Effect Wilson. All right. I see where you're going with that. I'm down. All right. What are we doing here? We got 6 seconds. What are we doing here? Oh, okay. They want to get set. EJ experiencing PTSD now. No, I'm well past. See, the funny thing was the Hail Mary against the Bears that the Commanders won on. Everybody was like, "Oh, you must be crushed," and I was like, "Oh, you're so cute." I'm a Bears fan. Like, I have so many of these. They hardly even hurt anymore. Like the last 25 or 30 years where some Bears fandom hasn't turned our hearts into pure chainmail. We're just like, no, we're good. I'm fine. Like, I'm gonna have a Monday. We call that Monday around here. It's not what you think it is. I'm just like, oh my God, you must be devastated. I was like, if that was the case, I would have died a long time ago.
Snowball's chance in Cleveland is great.
Snowball's chance in Cleveland is amazing.
Here it is. It's up.
It's up. Let's go.
It's batted down.
Oh, come on. You ruined all our good nicknames.
We had like 10 of them locked and loaded.
I know. They're so good. EJ is basically the Joker at this point. Some men just want to see.
Oh, we got a
I
fight.
can't even say that out loud. In the stands? Pickens go in the stands?
It's George Pickens' fight, so, what else is new?
He's going after a fan. Faux show. 100%. Yikes.
Wait, did he go after a fan?
Yep. He sure did.
I thought he was fighting with a player.
I don't think so.
If he went after a fan, that's a suspension.
Yeah, I think he was leaning over the rail. But Pickens, since his time in college, has been a fighter. He had several fights in college that well documented.
Yeah, we got to see a replay of that because if he went after a fan, you get suspended for that.
Yep, 100%. All right, so
I thought he was fighting Newsom, but
he had Newsom's helmet hooked. Right there, he's got Newsom's helmet hooked. So I'm sure Newsom was not super thrilled about that. Got to give it to Russ. He knows he's going to get cracked right there, and he gave him a chance. Like,
Chat's saying he didn't fight a fan. It was Newsom.
Not a fan? Okay, they're just tangling. Oh, Newsom pushed him into the stands. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Because, yeah, if you go after a fan, completely different deal. League looks at that very, very differently. Why was Muth blocking instead of looking for the ball? Yeah, every team's got several Hail Mary variants or Hail Flurry variants, as it were. And they'll call different ones based on different matchups and, where they are on the field and, all that. So a lot of times, yeah. But, wow, what a game. What a Thursday night gem to just kind of drop out of the schedule and be like, no, we're going to be an exceptionally good football game for you to watch.
I very much enjoyed that. That was great.
That was tremendous. A lot of times I'm pretty tired when we're done with these, especially if it has been a great game. I'm kind of charged up. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Feeling a little more holiday spirit, feeling a little more push for the second half of the schedule. Like that'll get you going.
Well, we have a pod coming out tomorrow where we look at all of the current AFC teams, or current playoff teams for AFC and NFC. So all 14 of them, and we sort them out by ceilings, tiers of ceilings. So either a ceiling of division round playoff berth, conference championship berth, or Super Bowl berth. So we go through all 14 teams and we explain why we tier them out the way that we do. So that'll be out tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. And then we'll be back on Monday doing a Week 12 recap and or topic of some sorts. Maybe we'll talk about the shitty teams and draft. I don't know. Whatever you guys want us to talk about, we'll figure something out. So either way, thank you guys for watching tonight. Great stream. Thank you for being here. And until next time.